Hey, this is Crow Inquisitors. We are here for episode 51. I was slightly confused before I started here because I had to make new overlays. I'm trying something different this time. I'm having Jared's picture in the right place, even though he's not here, just so I don't have to change the names on the four-person overlays, and we'll just stick with these ones. And Jared's picture's already in the corner, so... But I was like staring at the screen like, which one do I click on? Oh, there it is. We're here. We're here with Crow Inquisitors. And we're going to follow up with the whatever weirdness happened. You slayed a demon. You actually killed one, so congratulations there. But then from there, Sergio, for one reason or another, didn't want you to... I mean, he was fine with you killing the demon, but like he didn't want you doing an exorcism on his bishop. Mainly for political reasons. There may be other reasons that we get into as this confrontation happens. But I think we'll go ahead and do Artha, but then there's something I want to start with before, a couple things that we need to start with before we actually reach that point. So, Cantarius, let's read off your bits, shall we?
So, I mean, I guess I didn't ask you it more explicitly, but I actually wanted for the leaf to be like explicitly Targoth is next. Is that fine?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. And then number two is this world is more than blood and gold. I will increase my skill in the intellectual discipline. And then Dellon has helped me in my quest tremendously. I will return the favor.
Nice. Instincts.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I thought of something I might change it to, and then okay, yeah, maybe later. Always be on the lookout for the bonds that tie demons to the physical world. Always offer forgiveness to those who repent. Always be on the hunt for demons.
Nice. And your very long list of traits, most of which have to do with demons or weird magical powers. Very good. Cool, Dellon.
Hey. Meridia and I are working to protect Ceran. I will interrogate my father about his part in this new cult. Sergio has allowed this rot to fester. I will not let him interfere. This new cult around Alphonse's son must have something convincing its adherents. I will determine what doctrine they have twisted to bolster this movement. And yeah, I think that's it right now.
Yeah, you have your On My Blade on My Life. Hydral hold enemies have got a bay, which is still active, but you just don't have a second part to it, so you could get favor at this time. But
okay. Instincts never go unarmed under any circumstances. Do whatever it takes to win when something more important than myself is at stake. And never leave a word against the Holy God unchallenged. And then a whole bunch of traits.
Yeah, a whole bunch of traits, most of which have to do with being religious and or
sorting.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, cool. Last but not least, we got Theo.
I will transcend to God, or I must transcend to God. I will prepare myself by sharpening my will, nerve, and faith. Second one,
I was like, oh, you're tweaking that one. Yeah.
My new patron has offered me power, but he might be a demon and deceive me. I must test my faith in order to find out if this is the one true God or a dangerous demon.
Right. So this time you want to like actually make some sort of test to discover that truth.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will help Asia find and secure the keys to prevent others from using them. We must find out which one Faustus has and where he has it. Mm-hmm. And instincts, never give up a chance at power. Always trust my friends and never heed danger.
And a whole bunch of traits, most of which have to do with being a gladiator.
Yeah.
Or religious.
The last one, never heed danger.
Never heed danger, yeah.
Just clarifying.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, and we don't have Jared today. He had to miss today last second. But I think once you guys like start in media res here again, Alphonse will teleport away. For one reason or another, I have a couple of ideas. We'll run them by Jared and see which one of them he wants to go for, and we'll probably do a solo session at some point, me and Jared. See what Alphonse is up to during this time. But I think the first thing I want to start with is you, Cantarius. I have a question for you. Why did your son get demon possessed in the first place? Do we ever settle on like how that happened? Because like you were raising him, you were like teaching him how to be a craftsman, and then suddenly, like I remember around the time you made him. No, wait, did you make the staff or did he make the staff? The magical staff that ended up demon bonded.
I don't remember exactly at all how any of that turned out.
I don't think we really ever got it on screen.
Never talked about that once, I don't think.
Yeah, and we can, the answer can just be Cantarius would never talk about it, and so we never know. That's perfectly acceptable. But I think like the first thing we see in this episode is a snippet of you and your son, like back before, very, very soon before, like he actually got possessed and everything went to crap. As like a kind of a contrast, when we cut back to Cantarius, right, in the moment here, as you guys are fading out of the astral plane and are going back into, or the demon realm or whatever, and going back into your bodies, we just see this moment, right, where Cantarius is staring at the place where Eurus was and knows that by killing him, right, his son is gone forever. Whatever piece remained has flitted into the ether and is gone. Is there any other thing that like Cantarius remembers or thinks about from like maybe good times with his son or just in general as we get that fade out?
No, I don't.
Cries like a little baby.
Yeah, well, no, he cries like a man. He's like,
yeah. One manly tear.
I don't know. I don't. He probably just thinks back to like all the times that we've seen on screen, like Cantarius failing him.
Sure. And you failed him for the last time, but you got to do what you got to do. So
I think this is him succeeding.
Sure. Okay. That's true. I mean, Winter certainly didn't want you to not kill Eurus, right? So yeah, that makes sense.
Well, not only that, but now he's free. He's no longer bound to this like non-life existence with the person who's failed him his whole life.
Certainly, that makes sense. Yep. Cool. Yeah. So you see that. And then before we actually see you guys get back into your bodies, I have to make a couple rolls here because what happens is, right, there's 3 people in the room besides you guys and Armando, I guess. And those people are Min, Yuma. Oh, I guess, is Achia there? It probably makes sense for Achia to be there too because Theo came with the 2 of them. So it's Min, Achia, Yuma, and Medetto. We totally forgot about Medetto last time, but Medetto is the colonel who Dellon has been trying to get on his side in this political church stuff. And basically he was there with the exorcism, the confrontation of the bishop in the first scene that Dellon had with him, and Medetto just came along and is like, okay, I'm going to see this through to the end. Like, I'm not going to let you just walk off with this guy. I'm going to make sure that everything is on the up and up with this exorcism stuff, and this is actually real, right?
Yeah, I also told him, or I wanted him to come so that I'd have somebody non-biased party or whatever to witness it. Yeah.
But I think we see a couple of figures walk in. I don't think Maria can keep them out of your house, right? Like these are official church people who like, and so I guess this is up to you, Dellon. What are the standing orders for your like household when something like this would happen? Where Sergio sent men to just be like, and it's like two church officers and a bunch of inquisitorial guard. What would be the standing orders for when they show up at your doorstep? Or just in general, you can tell me what Maria would do, whether or not there are standing orders per se.
Yeah, I don't know. She might stall,
Okay, yeah, so the first thing we can do is attempt to stall.
Ask for what is it? Wow, it's the order that the cop needs to search your house. Why don't I?
Oh, a warrant.
Thank you. It's not in my head.
Says the guy who went to school for law enforcement.
Yeah. I remember.
That's all right. That's right. Yeah. I think that makes sense as a first step, right? So Maria is attempting to stall them long enough that you guys, because the trick will be, right, is if Maria and or Medetto / the rest of the people in the room can stall long enough before they just literally put you guys in prison, right? Because your bodies are just limp. So they could attempt to do something like that if they really wanted to. We'll just see how dangerous it does get for your like helpless bodies in that basement by making a couple rolls here. So let's see. Maria has, for social skills, command, etiquette, intimidation, persuasion. What are we thinking? What makes the most sense? Like soothing platitudes would probably make the most sense for like a stall, but we could probably finagle. I'm thinking maybe etiquette she could get away with doing, right? Like making like a obscure etiquette roll to just be like, in this particular instance, there are protocols that you're not following, and I can stall you just long enough by having to do the proper protocols that, it takes too long.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Let's take a look. Oh, as a note, we do have now a compendium in here. If you look at that little eye in the top right, if you search a skill or a trait or something in Burning Wheel, you should be able to find it there now. Yep. So we got that. It's still a little work in progress. I think there's going to be more tweaks on it and make it a little bit more accessible. There's no drag and drop function yet. But at the very least, it's very useful for looking up rules.
I really need drag and drop as much.
Well, it would be very handy if you could do that with life paths. That'd be amazing.
That's true. Although you would have to know the restrictions.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, if they should get a character mancer for Burning Wheel now. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Okay, so etiquette. So normally the obstacles for etiquette are like for a higher and higher figure in a royal sense. But I think the idea here would be she's trying to use like obscure protocol loopholes to prevent them from going further. So let's say ob 6, which is the highest suggested ob on here. I just don't think it's likely that this is the case, that she will be able to do something like this given their power and authority in the situation. But it might be possible.
Yeah.
So let's see. She can fork in. She's not like commanding them or being like aggressive in any way. So I think she could probably fork in doctrine. She has a 4 in it, and that might be relevant since they're church people. And we can do maybe inconspicuous to make you and her seem less threatening, right? So like they can afford to stall because there's not much going on here. And then I guess noble wise because they're nobles and at least the person she's talking to, and then persuasion. So we see at the very least, we see Denzia, one of the twin inquisitors, who used to work for Vada and is now working for Sergio. He's kind of taking the lead on this. And we see him. He looks like this. So handsome blonde man. His eyes look haunted though. Like from the last time we saw him, he was, still a new inquisitor and hadn't seen a whole lot. At this point in his career, he looks haunted. Like he's seen things and he can never go back, right? What he's seen, we're not entirely sure, but he seems worse for wear over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
But then let's see. Go ahead and add those forks. And I don't think Maria has any persona. She might have a couple, but I don't think she's going to spend them here. And then we'll do up 6. So she has a 5 in etiquette to start with and is adding 4 dice. So it's unlikely this succeeds, but there's a chance. 9 versus 6. Yeah, that's pretty far distance from succeeding and no 6s. So she'll just let it fail. She tries stalling as long as she can and then eventually has to let them in the house. Right, so the Inquisitorial Guard storms in. We see Denzia and then an older man, kind of in dark clothing. We don't recognize him at first, kind of striding behind Denzia. And they make their way into the basement, right? And we see Medetto, Yuma, Ichi, and Min all there. There's definitely a moment where Denzia's like, Min, like, you're not supposed to be here. You're supposed to be in prison. Like, what are you doing here? And then Achia, right? Like, oh, you were also supposed to be arrested at some point. but there's like a standoff between these people. Medetta, Yuma, and Min all have good sword skills, right? So they're immediately like hands on their swords, like your standing over your kind of limp bodies. I think you guys are probably put in chairs, right? Probably makes the most sense. Just kind of like in a row of chairs there, down in the basement,
guys,
or maybe propped up against a barrel. What?
We're just having a slumber party. We're all
yeah.
We invited Armando to our sleepover.
You had a bad trip, and
yeah. We all got drunk and
yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's all Alphonse's fault. So I'm trying to think of who would take the lead in this. Probably Medetto first, right? He has on his character sheet right now, in terms of beliefs, his belief right now is my responsibility for the. No, I think I changed this.
Wait, just for reference, how did Sergio know we were all here? Did we tell him that, or?
Sergio found out because I think I made you make a test to try to keep it from Sergio, but I don't think there's any way you could keep it from him indefinitely, and I think you failed whatever roll you made. You stalled just along. You got enough time that you could do your exorcism, which is why they didn't show up in the middle of this, or before you went in to the astral plane or whatever. But yeah, he found out. I mean, there's multiple people who he could have found it out from. There was a whole bunch of people at the cathedral where it all went down, right?
I mean, we did kidnap
Exactly. You kidnapped a bishop in broad daylight, so it's gonna get back to him eventually. Okay. Yes, here we go. So he has 2 beliefs right now, Medetta does. My responsibility for the city of Lucerta weighs heavily on me. No matter what, I will do what is best for its people. And then I have long served the church, and there are good men inside it. I will help Dellon in his efforts for now. Right, so Medetto is currently on Dellon's side, but depending on how this conversation goes, it's possible he maybe turns if, like, Denzia can convince him, like, no, like, you're on the wrong side of this, sort of a thing. Mm-hmm. I think it's probably likely that it's... What do we think the order of operations is here? I think Min and Yuma are going to fight to keep you guys from being arrested or whatever. At the very least, Yuma is, and Min will probably reluctantly join her if she starts drawing swords, right? Yeah. Is the role before that going to be, like, Medetto trying to convince Denzia, or Denzia trying to convince Medetto? Feel like it makes more sense for Denzia to try to do the convincing here.
Probably.
Step in and be like, under my authority, like, I'm taking these people into custody, and, like, step aside.
Yeah.
Because Medetto might step aside. Obviously, Yuma and Min aren't going to.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Let me check what Denzia's beliefs are here.
And I guess what determines whether or not we get to wake up before?
I don't think you are, like, these rolls are the chances you have to not get taken away with your bodies. I suppose we can make a roll at some point to try to have you guys wake up before they get you into a prison. But I think the cost of going into this to help Cantarius is just that there's a risk here that something could go wrong with your bodies, right? Because you chose all of you to go in instead of, like, leaving one person behind to try to stop something like this. So your NPCs can try to do it for you, but I think that's the hope you have right now. Okay, so Denzia also has a belief right now. I won't read the first part, but because it might be spoilery. But I will investigate Dellon and whether or not he is working for Sergio or against him. Right, so that's the belief he's acting on right now. And so he will just, I think. He probably needs to, like, decipher what happened here first, right? So we see a quick conversation between Denzia and Medetto, where Denzia's like, what is happening here? Like, why are they in a trance? Why is this bishop tied up? Like, what is going on? And Armando's just, like, whimpering in his chair, right? Very broken. Like, I think the role you made earlier broke his mind forever. So there's going to be something there to try to get him into some semblance of sanity. But I think after that, like, brief exchange where Denzia is, like, filled in on what happened, I think that's all he probably needs to know to think that Dellon is, like, working against Sergio, knowing what I know about why Sergio wants this to stop. As soon as he found out about Armando being captured. So I don't think Denzia has to make a roll to decipher whether or not Dellon is against him. I think he can just act on the assumption that he is. As long as, you know, if Medetto would fill him in, which I think he would, right? But like Medetto's basically saying your version of it, where it's like, no, he was demon possessed and Dellon had to do this, and, you know, so on and so forth. But I think Denzia could twist it and be like, whoa, listen, buddy, like Dellon has it all wrong. Like, I'm gonna give you information from Sergio's point of view that's gonna like maybe change, like, and he'll probably try to couch it in terms that he thinks Medetto will understand and agree with, right? Like, this is for the good of Lucerta. Like, disorder like this is not going to help. Like, this is the bishop of Lucerta that you just arrested, and now his mind is broken. Like, what did you do? Like, you did wrong for the people of Lucerta. So we'll have him make probably a suasion roll, right? Like, Denzia is going at it mostly from a religious standpoint. Like, you served the church, you still technically serve the country which serves the church, so like you're in danger here. Like, you're one step away from like being damned as a heretic, being excommunicated from the church. So he'll go ahead and do suasion, and he can fork in, let's see, probably like, because like it certainly is like an excommunicable offense to just go against what the Pope says, given the corrupt nature of this church. So I think he'll be able to fork in something like either doctrine or church law. I don't think both, but like maybe church law makes sense. Etiquette, heresy-wise. Oh, I guess Denzia has the interrogation skill. I guess I could have had him make a roll to decipher. You know what? Yeah, let's do that first. Denzia actually has a skill for this. I think it might be interesting to have him actually interrogate Medetto and the rest of the people in the room and decide, try to figure out for himself like what, because he has a belief specifically geared towards figuring out if Dellon is against Sergio or not. And it's possible that Denzia himself is convinced that what Dellon did was like for the best. So let's do that first.
Okay, cool.
So interrogation, he can do. So the goal here would be interrogating Medetto as to like what happened and what the truth of the situation is. So I'm thinking maybe doctrine, because that's relevant. Heresy-wise, oratory, just, you know, speaking well. Rhetoric. He's not trying to torture the dude, but yeah, I think we'll do that. Okay. He would if he could, but let's see. Medetto, what is his will? His will is, whoa, Medetto has a 6 will. When did that happen? Holy moly.
He's an NPC. It's basically standard.
Well, no, because he's a soldier.
Yeah, I'm kidding.
All right, cool. So here we go. This is gonna be difficult for Denzia. So, but he did it. Nice. That's pretty good. Yeah. So I think success. This is success for Denzia. So he gets the information he needs to determine. Yes, Dellon is acting against Sergio, and I need to be against him. Failure here probably would have meant that like he's like not sure if like Dellon might be in the right here. I shouldn't. But this is him being able to convince himself, get the information he needs to be able to act on his belief. Because it is true that you're going against Sergio. Like that is the truth of the situation. Whether or not it's ultimately what's good for the church, that wasn't what Denzia's belief was about. So,
right. Well, I suppose as part of the truth, he also knows that Medetto witnessed that the bishop was possessed, right?
Yes. Yep.
Like there wasn't any question.
He does.
Okay.
He would still act on it, and
probably already knows that, I suppose.
He does actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. There's a piece here that you guys don't know about why Sergio was letting that happen. Okay, so suasion, and I guess it's against his 6, so he has to get that roll again, which is unlikely. But I guess I'll give Denzia. Denzia has been doing stuff in the campaign for a while now, so I'll give him a couple of Artha. I'll give him some Artha, so he'll spend some persona on this because this is important for him. All right, here we go. All right, he got 3 6s. Yeah, this is easy. This will be no problem. So he'll spend 2 fate to reroll those dice, and he only got 1 success, but that's all he needed. Yeah, so I feel like this isn't so much that like he convinces Medetto to turn on you as he convinces him to hesitate, right? And Medetto's not just gonna. Yeah, he's just like, oh, I should just probably wait. Like maybe I'll speak for Dellon in court, but like I'm not gonna attack Inquisitor right now, right?
Especially if it was suasion. I mean, that assumes that it's in relevance for his soul or whatever. So
exactly. Yep. So that means Yuma is gonna stand up now, right? She's your last line of defense here. So she looks at Alphonse's unconscious body, right? And like grits her teeth. And she just like, she has her hand on her sword, on her katana. She has for the whole time. And she just looks up at Denzia and the Inquisitorial Guard and then just says, I'm sorry, I can't let you do this. And she seems like resigned to the fact that like she might die here. Like who knows, right? There's a lot of like as many Inquisitorial guards as they could pack into this small basement. It's a pretty big squad here. And so Min like looks at her like, oh come on, like as soon as you draw your sword, I'm gonna have to draw my sword. I don't want to fight right now. But he also doesn't want to be put in prison, so he'll go ahead and fight with Yuma. But yeah, so Yuma just draws her sword at that point, I think. I guess. Well, let's see. Does Yuma have? Yuma has like intimidation, doesn't she? Maybe she tries that first. Yeah, she has a good intimidation.
But I mean, our scene in the astral space wasn't really that long as far as
it wasn't that long. Yep. If enough, I was gonna say yeah, exactly. The thing is, all of the stalling rolls have failed up to this point. I think this might be okay. I think this is mainly, there's a couple of things that will happen here. If she fails this intimidation check, the strange older man next to her will step up instead of, like she's trying to intimidate the Inquisitorial Guard right now. Like that's the main, because that's who she sees as a threat. So she's gonna do that, and she'll have to deal with one more obstacle if she even if she succeeds on this. Okay, so intimidation, she'll fork in command. But that might be it. She has soldiering, but not soldier-wise. Yeah, she basically just has the one fork, I think, here. Just command. But I think Min, as long as Min has like intimidation or something, he can help her there. I don't think Achia is helping. I think she's just trying to back up to the back of the cellar and staying out of it. She's pretty useless in a situation like this. Yeah, Min has either intimidation or command, both of which are higher than 5. So he can give her 2 dice. All right, cool. So I think the will of the Inquisitorial Guard is 4. So that'll be her ob. No. Okay, that was a bad roll. So many 1s.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, she has fate, so she'll just try to do a coin flip here and, coin flip. I guess a 1 in 12 chance, not a coin flip. But nope. Yeah, so she got a success, but not the extra one she needed. Yeah, so she fails, and then they just fight. Now, if they win this fight, then you guys are safe, right? And they're going to be beaten off probably, and you can run away. There will be one thing that will be attempted on Cantarius specifically, but everybody else should be fine. Okay, so Yuma's going to roll sword. She can fork in brawling. And I honestly, I think this will probably just be a bloody versus. That makes the most sense.
Mm-hmm.
So she's starting off with a pool of 6. She'll add in brawling. Intimidation. No, intimidation failed. So yeah. So just brawling, I think, actually. Yeah. Just brawling. She can get 2 dice from Min. But that means she is at 9 dice. She'll go ahead and spend an Artha to bump that up to 10, and I think she'll just do... She just wants to stall, so I honestly think... I guess we should look at Bloody Verses real quick. I'm going to try to do this as quickly as possible because I know we're just making a bunch of NPCs roll right now, but... it's kind of important. I'm going to start her pool with 9 in defense and 1 in attack. She doesn't want to actually kill any of these people. She just wants to defend.
Right.
She doesn't have a longer weapon. I think they have about this. Well, no, they probably have spears.
Well,
yeah,
you said the room was cramped, right? So if they had spears,
oh, that's true. Yeah.
Penalty.
Yeah. Okay. I think they probably have sidearms then. So we can probably just go with the same. No difference in weapon length. And then she has armor. Yes. I actually don't know. No. She doesn't.
No.
Does Min have armor? Where is Min? Oh, there he is.
Probably not. He was in jail.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I mean, even if he did have it on his sheet, I don't think he has it now. Yeah, he doesn't either. Wait, when did Min get... Oh, yeah, Min got a wound already from Theo, the fight he did with Theo earlier. So he could be taken out if they fail here. Okay, so I don't think... What is Yuma's stride, I guess, is...
I mean, all humans.
Or sorry, not stride. Reflexes is what I was thinking. Yeah, she's reflexes of 3. I don't think the guards have a higher than 3, but
okay.
It's certainly not looking good for her. So I don't think there's any extra dice here. It's just going to be the 1. So I'll go ahead and roll for her first. So she just has the 1 die. Oh, you know what? The one thing that Aisha can do, she can do faith.
That's true.
She's just kind of standing off into the corner praying. I'll have her make a faith roll real quick. I'll have her try to do the thing where you get extra dice.
Yeah.
Give extra dice to a person. So that's an ob 4. Okay, so she gave her 1 die. Actually, whoa, I guess the 6 is automatically reroll. She'll spend a fate to try to get some more successes there. Nope. Okay. So it does give Yuma 1 die. So we're doing D6. So this is her attack. Just 1 success. Oh, well, she could probably spend a fate to reroll that, but
probably not much point. No, probably.
It depends on if they get a really low defense and she wants to do some damage anyway.
Yeah, I suppose.
All right, and then 10d6 on her defense. Nice. That was a great roll with success too. Okay, so I think, let's see, I probably have a care sheet for this. Yeah, we'll do City Guard probably just as the stat block here. Yep, sword, and then they have 1, 2, yep, two forks, and I don't think any extra dice. So they only have 6 dice. I think they'll go pretty even on 3 and 3. But they don't have any fate, so whatever they get is final. So this is their attack.
6 dice. Well, there's a bunch of them in there.
That's true. Yeah. Discard that roll then. I was just thinking of 1 guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. How do we think we could fit into this room that's reasonable? It's your basement.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe 6
sure.
extras. So 7 total.
Fair. Too many people in a small room, they don't really contribute that much anyways.
Yeah. But they might be able to pile on one of Yuma and whatever. If they get a advantage here. Okay, so that means their total, it would be 12 dice. So they're going to go even 6 and 6 then. So this is their attack. Okay, so it doesn't beat Yuma's defense.
Nice.
And they don't have any fate, so they can't try to get better than that.
Didn't get any 6s anyways. Oh, but I suppose they could have spent 1.
Yeah. The only thing that will matter is if they get really low on their defense, then Yuma might spend a fate. No. Okay. Yeah, she won't bother then. Yep. So, I mean, she manages to put them in a standstill, right? And it's just it's mainly like this is such close quarters, and she's such a dangerous opponent with her long katana. Like, she just keeps them at bay long enough that her and Min just are fighting very defensively and just keep pushing them back and back, that's all that happens. I think the one thing that will happen as you guys are kind of fading out of the demon realm, Cantarius, you feel a pressure on your mind, and we see the dark clothed older man that was standing next to Denzia kind of concentrating. And I'm going to make it some sort of intellectual discipline roll here against you, and we'll see what he can actually pull off. But let's see, intellectual.
He insults you and you take psychic damage.
Yeah, he's doing vicious mockery.
Yeah.
I love how in Baldur's Gate when you cast that they actually say, and they have a bunch of canned insults that they say cast it. It's so funny.
Very fun. Okay, well, yeah, intellectual doesn't have a whole lot of like direct attack options.
Yeah, destroy with sorcerer's fire.
Yeah, I mean, so we've had a character with the intellectual discipline do like brain blasts before. So I feel like I should put that option on here.
I mean, technically, the way that art magic works, I think you can try any of them. It's just that it's an increasing penalty.
Yeah, what I did for the 9 disciplines is I chose some as purely off limits, but then kept some with off penalties.
Right.
I don't know. You tell me, Connor. Does it make some more sense to give that? This would help you or hinder you, depending, right? Depends on whether or not you want this ability at your disposal later. Can you just do damage to someone with the intellectual discipline? Just like shoot mind energy at them?
I think it feels lame to be able to do that. I think illusions and nightmares is more fun. Like,
okay,
maybe he's just trying to give him a dice debuff for if he wakes up or whatever. Like, do the hindrance thing.
Well, so I think this guy's goal would be to keep Cantarius trapped in his mind somehow, if he can do that, right? So that that Cantarius won't be able to do anything in this fight that's to come. So let's see if I can do something like that.
Yeah. Well, maybe the hindrance could be like, he's trying to keep his mind weak enough that he can't.
It's probably trait. It's probably some sort of trait that just means like
give him coma or something.
Yeah, coma, some sort of coma trait, right? Like something along those lines.
Is there a trait like that? Because
no,
if you took
but
that, you couldn't play a character.
No, I know. Yeah, it would have to be some sort of trait that like makes him weak enough that there's probably some sort of trait he could give him that would like be a temporary thing, right? Yeah, so I'm trying to think. Could he just do illusion, maybe? Maybe to keep him trapped in his mind, so he
wakes up, but he's still in the mindscape.
Still in the mindscape. Yeah, that's probably the best option here. Okay, so he's going to try to roll this intellectual discipline against your perception with a double obstacle penalty. Do you have some sort of thing, Connor? Does Cantarius have a thing that allows him to use his perception as if it was a skill? Sometimes people have that. I think there's a trait that allows that. Let's check. Oh yeah, you have second sight. I don't know if second sight automatically. I think there might be a criteria that it. Yeah, the one thing is you can't actually look up traits by name. You can look up types of traits and look at the list, and they're in alphabetical order, so it's not that bad. But
they said they're not. Okay, that's good.
No, you just can't search them in the bar. You have to. You have to search die traits, and then from there.
And then there's just a huge list, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so you can use your perception into observation for detecting stealthy or inconspicuous characters. That's the thing here.
This is a really long description. Holy cow.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't think it helps. You'll just have to make a people are subject to this.
But it's second sight, right?
Yeah, second sight is the thing that would matter here, and it gives you the ability to do as if it was observation, but that's not. It doesn't say that here. It's just saying illusion against perception, right?
It says the second sight grants the ability to discern if something is magical or not. So if he was looking around and everything was magical because it was an illusion. Isn't that?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's allow it then. So you're making a perception test either way, Cantarius, but it won't get an obstacle penalty, right? He won't get double successes, for having a skill against a stat. Okay. So then the only thing that matters here is it's a versus test, but then there might be odd penalties if it's. So it's against a person. Wait. Let me look at this. What does it say? Be sure to add obstacle penalties to the sensory discipline test for Brett. Or sorry. Oh, I'm looking at sensory discipline. Wait. Where's it?
This also allows you to use the aura reading skill.
Oh, there we go. Yes. That's what we have been doing with his intellectual discipline. That's just the skill he uses for that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so then it's telling me to add the breadth and duration modifiers here. So that means he'll also get some. You'll get some automatic successes, Cantarius. One because he's not doing it against himself. And then he wants it to cover the whole scene here, I think. Yeah, it's not just one test he wants this to do. So he'll do the whole scene. So that's you get 2 automatic successes, as odd penalties, basically. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and roll this for him, and then this will be your ob for a perception test that you'll make, Cantarius. Here he is. And this guy looks like this. He's played by William Dafoe. So Green Goblin. He's in dark clothing. He looks sort of dark and disheveled, off to the side of Denzia. And it's at this moment in the show that we probably recognize who this person is. You guys will recognize him if and when you see him in the real world, but just for fun canon's sake, this is the guy back in the original village who had the intellectual discipline and was like, he stabbed Cantarius in the mayor's compound.
Oh, that old guy. Yeah.
He got arrested, right? You arrested him and sent him to the church, and the church, originally the Inquisitors, but then Sergio, after he got control of the church, decided not to execute him, even though they told you they were going to execute him, and instead make them into an agent of the church.
Lovely.
So I think he originally got turned into a Crow Inquisitor, and then when Sergio took over, just kind of became his guy.
Jeez.
And I've known that since first season. So
nice.
What were you saying, Adam?
I said his name's Willem Dafoe, not William Dafoe.
Is it?
Yeah, it's Willem.
Oh, interesting.
Weird. Willem.
I'm pretty sure I just copied that from Google. So weird. Maybe it's just pronounced weird. Okay, cool. So he's gonna make an intellectual discipline roll here. He can fork in astrology. But I think that's it. I guess he can probably fork in symbology since he's trying to do illusions. That probably also helps. Various like academic and arcane sort of sounding skills can help magic. But that's probably it. Okay, this is important, so I'm gonna have him dump some Martha in. Probably all of his Artha that he has, all his persona that he has. And then there you go. And then for good measure, I'll just go ahead and this is like an important thing for him to do, so I'm gonna dump anything he can do at his disposal here.
So is he making an opposed roll, or is he making casting a spell?
It's an opposed roll. That's what it says in the illusion thing. It's a versus test between.
Interesting.
The magic and the perception of the victim.
Are you rolling for Connor?
No, he was rolling for the other guy. That
was for the guy. So this guy is trying to trap Connor in his own mind, basically. Trap Cantarius in his own mind. So total ob is 7, but you automatically get 2 successes added to whatever your final successes are, Connor. If you're here, now would be the time to make that roll, but I'm just looking at his chair currently, so it's possible he's not there.
I guess it's an illusion. It worked.
Either way, like you guys probably won't know that Cantarius had this happen to him immediately. So what did Dellon and Theo do when they come back to themselves? They're like probably propped up against some wine and like a barrel of wine in the cellar here, probably, right?
Time for round two, I guess.
Yeah, you like,
Okay.
and then you see like there's probably a standoff, right? Like no one's fighting each other anymore. It's just like Yuma and Mid with their swords drawn, like protecting you guys, and the Inquisitorial Guard like, what should we do? And Denzia's like looking, he's gritting his teeth and just looking, and then we see Liren, the guy with the intellectual discipline. We see him concentrating on something. What's your first instinct?
We'll look over at Dellon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see that Alphonse has disappeared.
Right. Yeah. What else is new, I guess? Yeah. I mean, I probably would I have any reason to assume they didn't just grab him? I mean, I suppose they haven't gone to us at all. So, are there little flower petals on the ground because he teleported away?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then I'll put a hand on Yuma's shoulder and be like, "Well done." And then I'll sort of like push past her and be like, "Everyone stand down and just explain to me why you're in my home, armed and attacking my, well, they're not my servants, my companions."
Yeah. And then this will be the moment where we have Cantarius make the perception test, and then you maybe look to Cantarius and be like, back me up with your intimidation dice, but he might be in his own little mind, so
yeah,
in his own little world rather. Cantarius has a big mind, don't worry.
A world of pure imagination.
So making perception against intellectual?
Yes. Yep. So that's how the illusion option works for intellectual discipline. So your ob is 7, but you can add 2 successes for free to whatever your total roll is. And this is just perception you're rolling.
So,
ooh, that was a really bad roll.
Wow.
Oh no. Oh,
yeah, so you have 4 successes total, right? And you do have a 6, so you could spend 2 fate to reroll 2 dice.
might as well.
Yeah, so put the remaining ob as 3 then.
Oh,
No
gosh.
cigar.
Seriously.
There we go. This is the Cantarius we know and love.
Again.
Yeah, so Cantarius, you feel yourself going out of the demon realm, and you see Dellon and Theo leave, and then you're back, right?
Nice. That's awesome.
And then you're just back in the demon realm, and you're like, wait, what happened? Like, why didn't I leave?
You open the door, and beyond the door is the room you're in right now.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the sort of vibe we're getting. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can tell us, Cantarius, what it looks like when you like transport yourself back to the demon realm. But whatever happens, yeah, it's like the equivalent of you open a door and it's actually just the room you were just in.
Well, I think he tugs on the string, right? He's like he sees the string in his body, and he's like, "Oh, okay, I can follow this back to my body." And I think he like tugs on it, and he stretches as the string is going, and then he gets to a certain point where his body can't stretch anymore, but his body, like his spectral being it can't stretch anymore, but it's like it's not actually leaving.
Yeah.
And then the string just like detaches from his hand, and he just is like pulled back down.
Some Stranger Things vibe where you're like,
right, but instead what happens, Connor, is you get to the end of that string and the string disappears, but you don't go anywhere, right?
Because you're actually in your body. It's just it doesn't.
But you don't know it, right? That Cantarius, for all intents and purposes, right now thinks the string went away and he's stuck here, right?
Right. So that's what he sees, but in fact,
yes, exactly. It's not true, but that's what Cantarius believes happened for now.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, and then right after that, Cantarius, you hear a voice. And it's William Dafoe's voice, right? And
I've always wanted to hear William.
exactly, he says, Cantarius, it's been a while, huh?
Cantarius.
I don't remember who.
Yeah, so this is Lirin. He is the man who you fought at the mayor's house in the first season. Remember, you went there to kill the mayor, and this guy showed up, made you try to see things that weren't there, and then stabbed you.
Yeah.
You thought he got executed a long time ago by the church, but yeah. And again, this is all in your mind. You still think you're in the demon realm. So like, maybe you think he was a demon all along or something, right?
He probably was just like, show yourself. I'll shove my staff up your throat too.
Yeah. And you turn around and you see him. Exactly. Exactly. You turn around and you see him, right, standing there next to you. What do you do?
I probably just attack him with my staff, right? I just
and it goes right through, right?
Yeah.
At least for now, right? Like you could, Cantarius can figure out a way to like actually get out of this sort of situation. But for now, he's just messing with you and keeping you in this state of like, and so you pass right through him and he just says, now Cantarius, that's no way to greet an old friend, eh?
He says, but what's the formal word for goodbye? It's like the formal word
farewell.
For yeah, he's like, it was meant to be a farewell.
Right. Nice. Yeah, and I think for now he's just keeping you occupied, and we can go back to that scene in a second. But like Dellon, you look over and Cantarius is just still like out of it, right? And Alphonse is gone, so it's just you and Theo. Yeah, you kick in this and nothing happens, right? Like he doesn't even notice it because the guy's roll succeeded.
Do I see the other guy sitting there, Snape counter cursing, like staring at Cantarius really obviously?
Yeah, that's actually a good question. I think this guy is a favored, so he is probably whispering a prayer, right?
Okay.
But he is behind the Inquisitor. Like he would have kept himself safe behind the Inquisitorial Guard at this point.
Yeah.
Okay. And well, I guess. So what is it? I guess they succeeded on the bloody verses. What's the ad for Yuma's sword? I guess is the question. I think it's a.
Well, nobody hurt anybody. I don't think.
Well, no. Yuma got over their defense.
No.
Or no. Oh, you're right. You're right. Yeah. She got a 1 and then decided not to. Yeah,
right.
I remember now.
Because they got
yes.
a 3.
It was just a standoff. That's what I remember. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Yes. So they're just all standing there as if it like they're sweating and stuff, but like no one's hurt anyone. So what would you like to do, Dellon?
Yeah, so I asked them what they thought they were doing in my house with attacking my companion.
Yeah, of course that's when Denzia speaks up, right? And he says, Dellon, please come quietly. I don't wanna have to make this harder than it needs to be. Sergio requires you to surrender your arms and come to his and that you surrender yourself to him. You are usurping your authority by going against his will in this matter, and you're required to face the full brunt of the law for that.
I'm sorry, I've gone against his will by purging a high-ranking member of the Church of a demon, one that was under his nose for maybe years. If that's his will, that demons run around in his most powerful servants, then yes, I am usurping his will.
You acted against a bishop without prior authorization, Dellon. You should have come to Sergio first with this.
I acted against a demon. Time is sort of a sensitive thing in these matters. If Sergio has an issue, he can come speak to me. If he sends guards to my home to arrest me for using my own authority to do my job, then he's not going to like the result.
I came to ensure that you were going to come and speak to Sergio. We don't have to arrest you, Dellon, but your minions here began to attack my men.
You asked me to surrender my arms. Why would I do that if I was coming simply to have a conversation?
Yeah, and he's like, he seems frustrated by this. He's like, no, you don't understand, Dellon. I wouldn't have had to do any of this if you had not told your men to attack us. They attacked servants of the church. This could have been a very easy conversation, but instead, you ensured that it was not going to be.
I told my men to keep you occupied at the door while I did my job, because I knew that you would try something like this, or rather Sergio would. because I don't know, for some reason he has to be directly involved in everything these days, regardless of whether or not it's his business. So I
Everything is my business,
Yeah.
nephew.
Okay, Darth Sidious, thanks.
Yeah, exactly.
No, you're right.
You see
Yeah,
Sergio
no.
over Denzia's shoulder, just saying, "Do it."
Yeah.
Denzia takes out a knife.
Yeah, great.
No.
Yeah. So I did not command them to attack you, which must mean that you pressed. And they felt like they had no choice.
Yeah, and like I don't know if that's 100% what happened there. Yuma just kind of assumed that they were going to come and grab you guys and just attacked. But I don't think she like contradicts you.
Yeah.
So I think Denzia says, "How does this end, Dellon? Are you going to come speak to Sergio?"
Sure. My job is done. The demon's gone. I can go speak to him now. You should probably take Armando. I think he's going to take some time to recover. It seems the demon did a pretty significant number on his mind.
Yeah, and he says, "And I can take the foreigners into custody."
No.
Referring to human men since they attacked inquisitorial guards, right? He's like, that's something that needs to happen. That's like what he's insisting on.
Right.
And so you could like say something and make a roll to be like, no, they don't need to be arrested, and here's why. But
No harm done.
Yeah. Did you say that, Theo?
Misunderstanding.
Yeah. And like again, he could be convinced of that because they didn't hurt anybody, right? They successfully did that. So it's just like you'd have to put some dice behind it.
Yeah. So I say, how about I overlook your misstep and you overlook theirs, and we call this a day, and we can just go speak to Sergio.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds like a straight up persuasion test to me.
Can I use suasion because it's an argue of his eternal soul? Because
you can fork it in. Yeah.
All right, great. All right. Persuasion, you said.
Yep.
Can I use command?
Sure. Yeah, you have authority over this guy in some capacity, at least. Theo, did you want to add some persuasion dice as well for your statement there?
Yeah.
I think you have a 5 in it, right? You have a 6 in it. Yep. So you can give him 2 dice.
Don't really know that doctrine matters at all here.
I don't think so. Suasion makes sense because you were like, this guy was a demon. Like this was, this was a big deal. But
all right. Can I do oratory since I'm speaking to a group? Okay. Intimidation, I assume.
Yeah.
Cool.
Ugly truth, I think, probably even too, right?
Oh yeah. I don't know why I always think you can't fork ugly truth because it's like a weird version that has its own, but it's still just
no.
A skill,
you couldn't fork ugly truth into like a falsehood test usually, but.
Right, yeah, so that makes sense. Okay, cool. I just always forget to think about it. What's his out? 6, right?
Well, that was Medetto.
Oh, no, yeah, Vendetto.
Yeah.
I mean, if Vendetto has 6, I don't know why an Inquisitor wouldn't have.
Denzi has 4. Denzi has 6 perception, right? He's smart.
Oh, he's really smart. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But he's been pushed around by everyone in this campaign, right? Vada pushed him around, and then Sergio's pushing him around, and then Dellon's pushing him around, right?
Poor guy. Yeah.
Yep, there you go. Cool. No problem.
So
you can mark an ob 4, Theo, on your persuasion. I don't know if that's a test for you. It might be at 6. Let's check. 6 against. No, it's a routine, so you don't need it. All right, cool. Yeah, so he seems to like breathe a sigh of relief because like he was worried he was going to have to press the issue, but like that makes sense, and you're offering to just come with him. So he says, "All right, Dellon, that's good. We don't need any bloodshed here. Men, stand down. The commander of the Holy Knights is coming with us." And they seem very relieved as well. They're like, "We didn't want to fight Dellon. You're going to die."
Like, if I said this, I'd sound crazy, but I just killed like 30 demons. So you're no trouble.
Yeah, I think Denzia does look over you and say, though, I can trust that you will keep them, and pointing to Min and Achia and Yuma again, here in your manor until this can all be sorted out, at least. Not under house arrest, of course, but just where we can keep an eye on them.
I mean, I guess to just look at them, like...
Yeah, they shrugged, like they weren't going to go anywhere anyway,
yeah,
so...
yeah. All right, cool.
So it's just Dellon going, or...?
It sounds like it. You could insist on going as well, Theo. I don't think they would tell you not to come.
They would still tell me not to come?
No, I don't think they would insist on you not coming.
I'll go with Dellon.
Okay, so you go to do that, right? But then we also see that Cantarius is like still in his own little mind, in his own little world. I don't know why I keep saying that. I think it's possible Liren just lets it go at this point because it's probably worse if he just keeps it going and it's going to escalate into something else. So I think that makes sense, right? He did it to ensure you wouldn't be able to, like, if that turned into a fight, Cantarius wouldn't have been able to do anything. Right. But I think what happens is they just leave, right? And as soon as, like, maybe Dellon and Theo like look back for a moment right before you guys leave, and you're like, wait, Cantarius is, and then that's when he like comes to, and he seems fine. It just maybe took him a little bit longer, is what you think.
Yeah.
And the only person I think who knows that happened is Liren, because he probably like even left the room before anyone else did, and then let it go. And so Cantarius, you like that happened. And then you woke up back in the room and you have no idea that like the guy was even there. You could probably touch base with the NPCs later, but I don't think any of them would recognize him as much as you would, right?
I mean, I fought him, right?
You did. I think Dellon would be the only person.
Fight.
so yeah. Dellon, do you want to make a test then? Probably a perception test just to remember the guy.
Yeah, sure. How hard is that?
Actually, it might be an observation test. Let me look. I think this guy might have like stealthy or inconspicuous
Probably
or
worse.
something.
Oh wait, no, I do have observation now.
Oh yes, he has a very good inconspicuous. This is like one of his main things.
Can you be inconspicuous while casting magic? Is that like an increased ob or anything like that?
If you had something against it, like I don't think you have a way to do like functional observation with your magic.
Or no, I meant like
what are you saying?
When he was casting his spell, if he was trying to be stealthy about it, does that do anything to the ob?
Oh sure, yeah, I can give you some extra successes on yours. That makes sense.
Okay. Just because I didn't know I don't know if silent casting is a thing in the Burning Wheel rules. All
right. Can I get a fork for a boneheaded wise against you, Dellon?
I mean, he only has a 4 perception. Sure.
Okay. Yeah. I think I just realized he had that wise, and I was like, that's fun.
I was also had other things that are on my mind, so that seems appropriate.
Yeah. I don't think he can get fool wise against you, but boneheaded wise certainly.
I have 6 will, so yeah, I don't think that would count. But boneheaded, sure, why not?
But I think that's probably it. So this will be his inconspicuous roll. He got a 4. I'll go ahead and spend 1 fate to see if he can get some more dice, because he has 2 6s. Nope. Okay. Yep, so Rob is 4. But then you can get an extra success for him being actively casting magic right now.
Do I get 4 9 disciplines wise since he's casting magic?
Sure. Yeah.
Cool. I think that's probably my own thing. So
cool. Oh wait, you're rolling observation, right? Do you have it?
Yep.
You do? Oh, okay, perfect. I just want to make sure you actually had the skill.
Yeah, I didn't think I did either, but it's on there. So
nice. I suppose Dellon did some investigating at one point in the campaign.
Yeah. I think I might actually got it when I was doing all those tests for practice.
Maybe, yeah.
Because I think I did open it, and then we changed it to like assess or something.
Yeah, I think we changed it to empathy.
Or actually,
if you don't, I think we just kept it as observation. I think we talked about which 3 it would be, and you said observation would be make the most sense.
So what happened was I opened observation, we changed it to assess, then we went back and so then I took observation because I thought that made more sense. So yeah, okay, never mind.
Yep. So obs 4.
Ob 4. Okay, and then add a success to that because wow.
Well, that doesn't matter.
Nope. Okay.
That was a very bad roll. Yeah. So Dellon, no one can like remember this guy except for Cantarius, and he doesn't know he was here. So I like that. I love that moment because I was planning on revealing this guy later, But I was like, there's no reason he wouldn't be at this scene. Like Denzia would have brought this guy, given the guy's beliefs and stuff. So I'm really glad that it turned out this way, though, because Cantarius knows the guy is around somehow, but like doesn't know what's happening with it.
That's funny.
Like
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So Dellon and Theo head out to do that. Cantarius, would you come with them? If they fill you in real quick on what's happening, what would you do?
I don't think you.
Yeah.
He's waiting. So. I'm coming.
Wait for me.
But he also. Yeah. No, that makes sense.
So Cantarius does or does not come? Does. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you were the exorcist, so I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I think everyone looks around for a moment and is like, "Where did Alphonse go?" But like, also, this is just a thing he does now. So
yeah, for the camera, I'm like, "Oh, rose petals! He must have teleported away. Probably not a bad idea."
Yep.
And then I also look at Mendetto and I say, "I will need my witness, of course."
Witness as in Mendetto.
Yeah, talking to me.
Yeah. He sheepishly follows, and he's like, he gives you the look like, "I'm sorry, Dellon. I didn't do anything."
Yeah, so, I mean, Dellon doesn't know that.
yeah, but he looks at you sheepishly, like you can tell that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
so you could ask him about it if you wanted to, but
yeah, I guess I ask him if he's all right. Are you well?
He just says fine, but you can make a roll if you'd like to, but
it's all right. Honestly, I don't think Dellon would care that much. He doesn't really expect him to fight the guard. Yeah.
Yep, makes sense to me. Cool, yeah. So I think you guys get taken to Sergio's like Pope office, right? This like really fancy room with a big desk and all these books and stuff. It's similar. We've been here before with Alphonse. This used to be Elon's, right? Your father's office. And there's like a big fireplace. And Sergio is, I think, probably just sitting at the chair, but I don't think he's like turned around Godfather style or anything, right? Let me look at his beliefs and traits real quick here. Yeah, I think he's like signing some sort of order when you guys are walking in. And Sergio looks up, seems slightly disappointed that Alphonse isn't there, right? Like looks around, it's like, I thought I could get him, right? Or at the very least, just wonders about why he isn't here when everybody else is.
We're both going to continue to pretend that he's not around.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But then he stands up and he says, "Very good, Denzia, you may leave us." And Denzia like bows, and he seems terrified to be in Sergio's presence. And quickly exits. The Inquisitorial guard that he was with him leaves with him, but there's like some at the door, guarding the door, like Emperor Palpatine style, right?
Right. Yeah.
Right now. But yeah, the three of you are. I think the NPCs obviously stayed back, but Mendetto's here, and then the three of you are here with Sergio. Sergio says he folds his hands together, kind of like makes a steeple, and he says, "I have to admit, I didn't think our reunion would be under such circumstances." Looking at like Cantarius and Theo particularly, right?
Mm.
I'd heard you'd made your way back into Lucerta.
I think what I would say anything.
What do you say, Connor?
Is this Sergio?
This is Sergio, yeah.
I thought you were doing a woman's voice, and sorry, I got confused.
No, sorry, he's just like soft spoken, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's played by Viggo Mortensen.
What's we have like bad blood with Sergio now, right? Or no?
Yeah.
Or is there starting?
So like when you guys left, there was no bad blood between Sergio, but at the very least, you've heard from Dellon that like things are getting worse, and Sergio isn't doing.
So and there's not like something that happened. It's just kind of like
not for you guys particularly. Yeah,
like we're suspicious of him being bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What do you guys say? Because he's talking to you and Theo, Cantarius.
Right.
Because he wasn't expecting you guys to show up, right? Like he just called Dellon and he's like, "Oh, I didn't expect a reunion under such circumstances."
Cantarius just nods and then like reaches out his hand to like shake his.
Yeah, I don't know what Sergio does there because old Sergio, of course, would have shaken your hand.
You know what'd be funny is like he reaches out his hand, nothing happens, and then Theo just kind of like puts Cantarius' hand down. Because he obviously he's not gonna like shake his hand because he like there's like a pause. He's like,
yeah, I don't know. Like, it seems weird. I don't know. What do you think, David? Would Sergio shake his hand or not? Or would he do something else? Like, one thing that came to my mind was like he just says, "Peace be with you, child," and then just does nothing, right?
or just like starts talking and kind of like, so like ignores it.
I don't know if he would like completely ignore it. Like, I think he might say like I think that's what he'll do. He'll look at you, Cantarius, and just be like, "Peace be with you," like a religious platitude, but like he doesn't shake your hand. He acknowledges it though, right?
Right. I think that makes sense.
Yeah, Cantarius just puts his hand down and goes like puts his hands over it.
High fives
in like a what's it called? Like a man's defensive stance. You know what I'm saying?
Right, of course. Yeah. You're kind of like standing straight.
You have your hands clasped in front of your stomach, like you're just having a conversation, but they're ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. A classic pose I could see Stephen Lang getting into. Yeah. Your actor. Yeah, cool. So then I guess he just, if that's all you do, he probably just goes to like turns to Dellon at that point, and then just says, "Dellon, why did you ignore my authority in this matter?" Just talking to someone.
Yes, wait a second.
You good? Does Theo try to say anything else to Sergio, or?
I think he's just like observing Sergio or Sergio. He's just trying to be like, oh, what's the word? Like quietly observing him.
Yeah.
Trying to
attentive,
engage him.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Is he like Batman brooding?
Yeah, he's just gonna like he's trying to like watch what he's saying, how he's saying it, trying to see if because he's obviously suspicious of him, but he's just like, I don't know. He doesn't really like religious authority, especially in this church.
You really, Theo? You don't like religious authority?
Even Sergio, I know. It's like
yeah.
So maybe just because that he's taken on this role, it's kind of like, wow, I don't respect you for that.
Yeah, exactly. We were better when you were just a simple partner.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Medetto is looking tense and glancing back between Sergio and Dellon. I mean, because like Sergio and Dellon are like the two probably most important people in the whole church. Right? Sergio is obviously in charge of everybody, but Dellon has all the swords. So yeah, as soon as David.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
So what the...
Yeah, Sergio basically just said, Dellon, why did you ignore my authority in this matter?
I exercised my own authority in an emergency.
Exercised.
Hey, you see what I did there? I high five Theo.
Yeah, and like I think it is like strictly legally true that like because Armando is a bishop, you should have brought this up to Sergio. It's not that like, you're totally authorized to do stuff to demons, but like because it was a bishop, that's the kicker here. And he looks at you, gives you a look like, come on, Dellon, you know the law, like, and like you understand that like it's a technicality that you broke, and you are like there could be an argument if you guys were to go to official church court on this matter, you could win. Right, because like the spirit of the law versus the letter of the law.
Well,
like,
there's exigent circumstances built into a lot of stuff,
So I think there's a case for either side of this being correct, depending on how a judge would how a canon would interpret it.
Right.
Um,
Probably with gunpowder, I guess.
No, canon as in a one.
I know. I know.
Yeah. But so Sergio says there has to be repercussions, Dellon, just like what happened when you murdered the first bishop. You can't keep doing things like this and not expect consequences. The church
Sergio,
has a hierarchy.
There was a demon-possessed bishop in your city, one of the most powerful people in this church, literally embodying a spirit of evil. And you're more concerned about whether or not I filled out the proper paperwork than, I mean, he could have completely destroyed everything. He was in a position to do that. The only reason he didn't is because I took quick enough action to subdue him before he could have just disappeared, before he knew we were onto him. How is this your concern right now?
Yeah. Let me take a look at his beliefs and instincts and stuff real quick.
Cantarius is very uncomfortable.
I hate it when family fight in front of me. It's so weird.
Yeah.
Cantarius and I are just sort of like back and forth, like looking at.
Yeah. So I think there is a chance that you could convince him of this line of thought if we go back and forth a couple of times. So I think he says...
the real thing here is that I'm giving him a way to tell me that he didn't know this was the case. Because if he says, if he says anything except that you're right, I'll be like, okay, so you knew he was possessed and you didn't care. I mean, you're obviously not fit for this position, right?
Yeah.
Just there's no going around that.
Yeah.
And then
okay, so Dellon, here's the
at least
thing. What do you want this to accomplish? Would you rather he said yes, even if it's a lie? Or would you rather him tell the truth, even if it means he's been consorting with demons?
Yeah, I mean, I think Dellon wants him to say yes, even if it to say like you're right, this is a bigger deal, even if it's a lie, because he doesn't want Sergio to be evil. Yeah. And
okay, so here's another question then. There could also be a circumstance where there's two things I'm seeing here. Either you just want Sergio to admit like yes, like I didn't say I didn't know about this and you're right, Dellon, right? Mm-hmm. Even if it's a lie, just to keep the peace, right?
Right.
Or would Dellon rather have it be even if Sergio was somehow involved with this, he agrees with you now and confesses and says, you're right, Dellon, I was doing this bad thing. Like, we should move forward and do something better. So given what I know about what he was doing, I don't think Dellon would immediately jump to, you have to be put out of office. Like,
right. I'm sure he had a reason he thought he had a reason. Right? He's not a demon.
No.
Right.
He doesn't like demons. He wasn't consorting with demons. That's not what happened here.
Yeah, I guess that's true. If the answer was I was trying to use the ring and now I realized that was stupid, then I guess that's also equally. I mean, like,
which one would Dellon rather have?
Probably the latter, because then there's not like this fake veneer.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
Dellon's a man of action. I figure he would rather have it be a real piece instead of a fake piece.
And if it was anybody else, he wouldn't even accept the first one. But because this is his family, he doesn't want this to be a bad thing.
Yeah, so maybe we just make the roll, and on a failure, that's what happens, right? I think he'll accept that either way, because I don't think he's gonna press on the
out
point.
Himself
like,
like
he's not gonna out himself. But okay, cool. So I think we'll push back a little bit here, right? And he'll say, So sorry, what did you say last?
Basically, like, why is my not filling out the paperwork your biggest concern when there was like one of the most powerful people in the church was possessed?
Yep. Actually, I think this is just where you make the roll, because I think depending on the line I have in mind probably depends on.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense.
What you muster up dice wise. Okay, so you're
persuasion or persuasion. Is it or suasion?
I could see either one and or ugly truth.
True. Ugly truth, I have less dice, but they're significantly easier to hit.
You said, why is that your biggest concern? The demon could have destroyed every... Yeah, I think it's ugly truth.
And my point in saying that is the hidden context there is, and if you knew about it, that's bad, right?
Exactly,
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, because you're not persuading him necessarily. You're doing it subtly.
Yeah.
The intent you want is a persuadey intent, but like the actual task, I think that makes the most sense here is ugly truth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So yeah, let's do that. Luckily you won't have to roll against his 7 will.
Yeah. Right.
But instead I think we'll just make it a
7.
I think it's an ob 5 ugly truth though. It's like a nuanced truth. Like given everything that was like why the reasons why he did it, it's very nuanced. Like it's not strictly true that he could have destroyed everything, according to what Sergio currently believes.
Right. Yeah.
So,
he believed he
I
had
think,
it in hand. I'm sure.
I think you could convince him of the truth of that he was thinking wrong about it. But ob 5, I think, is what you're looking at.
Cool. All right. Can I fork in persuasion? Yes,
You can fork in both of them. Yeah.
Okay. Can I fork in doctrine?
I think suasion is covering that angle of things. Yeah. If Cantarius and or Theo would like to speak up in this moment, or Dellon would prod them to do so, that's also a thing that can happen. But I could also see Cantarius and Theo not wanting to get involved in this conversation.
Yeah, I don't think he would really know like what's right because he's not part of the bureaucracy or of it. He's just
right.
like, I don't know. I don't think he would want
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
Can I fork in command since I'm talking about my own authority to do what I was doing and all that?
I don't think so. It's like making the role possible,
Sure.
right?
Okay, that's fair. I think it's just 2 then. From suasion and persuasion. Can I do it? I'm not like intimidating him physically, but I'm implying that like he's made a mistake here and that like things would be
I don't think so. That seems like an escalation
to
me.
The ugly
yeah.
truth. Okay.
Ugly truth is the like negative action you're taking here. Intimidation would be like, and if you don't do this right now, right?
Yeah. I'll spend 2 persona on it. So I'm at. Wait, is persona a separate thing? It is. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's the next field.
Up 5. Up 5.
Up 5. Yep.
I guess I can't really faith.
I don't think you can faith in this moment. Yeah.
Like, hold on.
Sergio's like, God's not. No, you don't get to talk to God here.
Yeah. I feel like it's kind of hard to be like, help me persuade this person in front of the person while you're persuading them. I feel like
it's probably, I think just in general, praying to God to help you convince the Pope that he was like doing something wrong is just probably not a thing that should happen.
Yeah. I mean, he's probably right, but I don't think that he would take it very well.
Exactly. Yeah. The Pope wouldn't have let you do that. Right.
Yeah. Ugh. Not great.
We got a 6.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure I don't have a call on for anything like this.
No, not ugly truth. I
only have one call on.
Truth.
That's true.
You get driven for ugly truth, but that's about your only option.
Yeah, true. That would be interesting. Your whole job is, you know what? The main character in Expanse has driven for ugly truth. Every time he finds out something awful, he's like, everyone should know this. I don't care if it'll cause 6 wars. This is what happened, everybody. And
yeah.
Then everybody dies.
Yeah.
Every time.
That's funny.
Yeah. That's one thing I love about this series is I never feel like he's doing the wrong thing, but it's always so bad every time he does it. All right, here we go. I'll fail some fate rolls. Huh? I only have 2 fate.
Yeah, you're gonna spend 1, 2.
I'm not gonna spend 1 because it's a waste.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. If you're going, you should go all in on it. Yeah.
I don't know if I want to spend that much on it. I might just let it fail. I think. Okay. Yeah.
All right, mark that ugly truth. And then
difficult.
Yeah, Sergio like agrees with you, right? But he's saying it to keep the he's saying it because not because he believes it.
Yeah.
So he says, "You're right, Dellon." No. So you said
I said,
why is this more important? Yeah. So he says, he turns to Medetto and he says, Dellon said you were a witness. Tell me what happened. And then Medetto lays out the whole situation, right?
I cringe a little because the situation is I chucked him against the holy wall and he bounced off.
Yeah, exactly.
If he hadn't bounced off, he might have died. And
yeah. Medetto says it in a way that's not as
okay, great.
He tries to
covers for me a
little bit. Yeah.
Good.
He doesn't describe it in such vulgar terms, but I think we as the audience can see on Sergio's face that he's calculating his chances of getting away with this. We can tell at this point, canon-wise, right, that like he was indeed he knew about this. He was doing something with Armando.
Yeah. And I mean, the way that the Inquisitor was acting, that was the impression Dellon got too. Like it seemed like that was the case. Again, the Inquisitor didn't care that there was a demon.
But Sergio in this moment basically says, "I must accept your story in the matter, Dellon, and I admit that I should have taken this threat more seriously. Thank you for bringing it to my attention."
Of course. As far as I'm aware, Armando has been effectively exorcised, although it seems like the demon did a pretty significant amount of damage to his psyche. I don't know what state his mind is in. We didn't really have a lot of time to test that. But as far as I'm aware, he shouldn't have any more demonic influence.
He nods. Unfortunately, I think this means that we're out a bishop. And I'm trying to think in this moment.
Alphonse doesn't have a job.
right. I wasn't thinking Alphonse, but I was thinking, like, is there a chance that Sergio could try to play politics here and try to give Dellon the bishopry as a way to get him out of the Holy Knights and usurp some of his power? I think that's a fun play, right? Connor's nodding.
Yeah.
You're muted, Connor.
I think that's exactly what he would do.
Yeah, I don't know if...
Because, the thing is, Sergio could just order it, right? He doesn't even have to ask Dellon about it. He could just be like, you know what, Dellon, for bringing this to my attention, I'm going to give you the bishopric, right? Like, you're obviously, like, the person who needs to, like, be in charge of the city right now. So, like, this is all you. And it's going to be double-edged, right? Because, like, this will give Dellon a little bit more authority in the matters he actually needs to have authority in.
Right.
But what Sergio is hoping it would do is cut out your connection to the Holy Knights in such a way that he could get someone in there to like get them on his side instead for whatever's about to come.
No, I mean, and maybe it works differently. Typically, I wouldn't think that gaining a new title would remove one of my other titles, right? Like this is.
I think in this case, given the council situation that Sergio set up, it would, because there's four orders in the church right now. It's the Holy Knights, the Inquisitors, the priests, and the bishops. No, sorry. Holy Knights, Inquisitors, monks, and bishops, I think is the four. Right, so if you were on the council for one of them, you couldn't be on the council for the other, right?
Right. Okay, well, if that's the case, then he would probably argue that he wouldn't be able to do that job from the bishopry because he wouldn't have that sort of law-keeping authority, right?
Okay, well, let's play it out. So I think Sergio says, well, that means that we have a absence in the bishopry. Dellon, for bringing this to my attention and for your stalwart service and stalwart service for the church in this matter, I think it's only fitting that you receive this bishopry. I know this will put this will change your work with the church somewhat, but I think you are the person that the city of Lucerta needs right now to deal with this demonic threat that you've mentioned. You will, of course, have the full range of the church at your disposal in rooting out these demons. Right, so Sergio is going to pivot to you can deal with the demon stuff,
right?
But this is going to cut your connection to the Holy Knights specifically.
You wouldn't.
So you can again, yeah, exactly. You can use Holy Knights, right? Like you're still able to use the Holy Knights to do whatever you need, but you also could use Inquisitors, right? Like the Inquisitors are also demon adjacent.
So he commands the Holy Knights. He doesn't lead them.
Yeah, he can command the Holy Knights, right? As a bishop could, but he wouldn't be in charge of the Holy Knights specifically. There would be someone you would have to talk to get the Holy Knights to do stuff for you, right? That would be the idea. And the hope is Sergio's plan would be to put someone in that position who actually follows him.
Okay.
That's his play here, I think.
Well, I'm very flattered, Uncle, but I don't know if I'd be able to feel like a position of such high authority might almost come with more distractions than effect. Although,
In a time of war, Dellon, etiquette can be put aside. You don't have to go to ceremonies necessarily or engage in the day-to-day minutia of bishop matters. I can handle that sort of thing. You, of course, would be given authority, though, to handle the matters as you see fit that this city is facing.
well, I wouldn't want to leave the order in incapable hands. I would either suggest that Averio Gall take the bishop. I think he would functionally and frankly,
Functionally?
there's two different words. Play the part better than me. But if you insist that I take up the bishopric, then I would insist that he take my place. I think he's the only one with the capabilities to fulfill my role.
Yeah, and so obviously Sergio doesn't want Averio in.
Yeah, of course not.
Because at this point, Averio's...
I mean, couldn't he just say like, "Oh yeah, sure, we'll do that," and then all of a sudden, like,
yeah, I think Sergio might try to put off that appointment.
Oh yeah, like say
right.
but then not do it.
Yeah,
later.
not even that. Like, just be like, I'm sure we can figure out the details according to both of our preferences in due time.
Right.
So he doesn't want to talk about it right now, but he's just like,
yeah,
cool,
whatever.
yeah, sure, yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
A non-answer, right?
Yeah.
As a bishop, would I have the authority to appoint somebody to that station?
Unless Sergio himself vetoed you, right? That's the idea.
Yeah.
And so Sergio.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, okay,
that's...
so it's not that the thing is, it's not that you have direct authority over the Holy Knights,
right?
To appoint someone like you could. Your opinion on the matter has great weight, but technically it would be like the council itself. I'm trying to think of how this is usually chosen. Usually it's like a family thing. No, it's the astrology tests and stuff that they do to like pick the right person, except most of the time they're rigged to just be, they don't consider them rigged, but like they basically set the test up in such a way that it has to be this person.
Right. Well, I know someone who's really good at astrology.
That's true. But she's also a heretic, so.
Well, that's true. Yeah,
I mean, you could certainly attempt to do something like that to like finagle the astrology test that's going to be made here. I think the idea would be they're going to do this for you as well, right? They'd be like, what do the stars say, or what does God say? Should Dellon be the bishop? And Sergio's going to be like, of course he's going to be the bishop. I'm rigging it, right? But I think even Dellon like doesn't view it that way, right? When they do this, it's just that they set the test up in such a way that it's obvious who the answer is going to be.
I feel like it's happened coincidentally too many times to be like,
it's pretty much accepted at that point, even though the original intention of it was to be random, or according to God's will or whatever.
Yeah, so I think he just nods and says, I can't in good conscience leave the Holy Knights without competent leadership that basically that I would know the best to, for who would fill that role. So as soon as we have a replacement for myself, I'd be happy to take you up on that offer, basically.
Yeah, I think he might suggest at this point, because like looking at the character list here, I think the only other person that makes sense of the NPCs we have right now is Medetto himself. Right? Like he seems like a good pick too.
Yeah, except for that Averio is literally already a Holy Knight, so it would be like...
No, I know, but like he like officially retired from being a Holy Knight a while ago, and then I guess he got put back in because of Dellon. Yeah.
It's just like you could either take the retired chief of police to be the chief of police, or you could pick like, the coolest private security guy you can find, right? Like it's an adjacent market, but there's a guy who already did it.
Medetto doesn't have doctrine. He's always worked
Oh,
for the church, but
true.
doesn't have the doctrine chops to actually
But
pull this off.
I mean, that might not really be that bad for Sergio
Yeah,
because then
it
he
might
won't
not.
know when Sergio's telling him to do something he shouldn't do. I'm not sure
Yeah,
Sergio would care.
He might
Obviously,
attempt it
Dellon
himself.
would.
Medetto is going to be the sort of person that Sergio could, as we've already seen, could convince more than Averio.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's what he would suggest. I think Sergio
Yeah.
says, well, we have a great candidate here. Averio has already retired once. I don't want to push on him an appointment that he has already refused before. And not necessarily that he refused being the leader of the Holy Knights, but like just in general, like doesn't seem the sort of thing that Averio would want to take up per se.
Right.
And so he points to Medetto or nods to Medetto and says, "What about our good colonel here? He's worked for the church most of his life. He knows the ins and outs of the bureaucracy. I think he could be a great service to you."
Yeah, it looks at Medetto is a good man, and I wouldn't be opposed to him being in the order, but unless Averio is opposed to the idea, it seems strange to appoint a secular officer over a religious organization, especially when one who is very, very familiar with that organization is available. Maybe we should speak to Averio, and if he refuses, then I mean, I still feel like there has to be somebody in the Holy Knighthood that would be
There
competent
probably
enough
is.
to rule
Yeah.
it, but yeah.
And like technically Sergio could like circles up someone who would be on his side, and we could get there if we get there. But I think Medetto is someone who's already proven he can be manipulated by Sergio. So he wants to try that at least.
I was about to suggest that you should just make up a new villain. Like, just give us a Sadius. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's certainly where we could go. I just think Sergio's first instinct would be like, this is someone that Dellon likes, Medetto, but also who I can manipulate. Like, this is like a person we already know about. So let's talk about this as players. Where in this chain of events is the test, right? Like, Dellon wants Averio to be in charge. Sergio wants anyone else, specifically someone who he can like manipulate, but especially not Averio.
Yeah.
Is this like some sort of opposing role between the two of you? Is this, what do you think?
Well, so basically Dellon's like, I'll take the bishopric if I like the person who takes my place, is basically what he's saying, even if he doesn't necessarily have the authority to say that.
So how about I do this? How would I make a circles test for Sergio? And if he succeeds on the test, he gets someone that both of you accept, but will be a person that he can use in the way he wants to. If he fails, Averio gets put in office because that's the obvious choice at the end of the day.
Okay. Since I want Averio in, is there a way I can make that more difficult?
You can make linked tests to increase the obstacle, yes.
Okay. Because I guess basically my idea would be like, that person's also not as good as Averio. That person's also not as good as Averio. Right.
And you can make like a doctrine test or something there, right? Like just to be like, what do I know about, like, do I have the right information? How good am I parsing the people according to my knowledge?
Okay, cool.
Real quick, let me figure out the base ob for this.
Sure.
So we have ob 1 is the base, and then from there it needs to be, this is Sergio making a roll, so this is someone who doesn't necessarily have the same life path as him. Yeah, because it needs to be a Holy Knight, so I think we'll make it ob 4 altogether. +2 for... actually, it looks like according to the stuff here, it should be an ob 5 for him. Because it's within the same setting, but not the same life path. Lower rank or station than him. And has disposition different from members of Circle. So it'll be a base op 5.
Isn't there a difficulty modifier for specific skill set?
Yes, but that's part of like the life path he's choosing is like the military order. Right. So the only thing that matters here is he has a disposition towards Sergio. That's the actual.
I guess he doesn't really care if he's good at.
He doesn't care if he's good at it. No.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
Yeah, so that Sergio definitely has reputations and affiliations. I don't know why I don't have them on here. Vicar of the Great God. And then he has an affiliation with the church. So he can add both of those in. So he does have quite a few dice to work with here.
Mm-hmm.
Church of Ceran. So he in total has, unless he makes some link tests, which he might do, he has 10 dice against an op 5.
10. Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
He's a 3-die reputation and 3-die affiliation.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
He's literally the most important person in the country. So
Yeah, that's fair. All right. So then what's my ob to make it harder? How does that work?
I don't know. Tell me what sort of thing you would want to roll. Like what are you actually attempting to do? Sorry, you're talking about doctrine, right?
Yeah, just whatever skill I can use to be like, none of these people would be as good at this job as Averio in a way that's compelling enough that he can't just be like, but I don't care, right?
Sure.
Or rather, that'd be his only option is to be like, I don't care that they're not good, and then I assume he'd never say that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of this. Is this like an opposing test between the two of you?
I mean, not really, because he's trying to hit an ob, and I'm just trying to make the ob higher.
Well, I mean, he could also try to do a link test here, right, with a similar sort of thing.
Right. Okay.
And then whoever gets higher gets the die.
Yeah. So maybe this is more like a.
It's just who's getting the link test.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's either a +1 ob or a +1 die. I think that's fun.
Okay. Sure. So yeah, basically we're like, this is about who can argue for the people that they like better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. So what do you think? Should we do multiple of these, or should we have like one that's just like
probably just one, just for the sake of time.
Yeah, sure.
I would think brevity.
How about Sergio makes I guess just a persuasion makes sense, right? If you're just convincing each other, and then you can fork in stuff to that.
Yeah, well, because I mean, he's trying to persuade me because he doesn't actually care if they're good, and I'm actually just trying to find I think Avery is the best person, but I'm trying to explain why. So maybe I have a harder, like a more logically based skill. I don't know. I'd like to use doctrine if I can, because I have a better thing in doctrine.
Yeah, maybe it makes more sense to do something like ugly truth, though, right?
Well, yeah, but ugly truth has its own obs, though, and you can't really I don't know if you can oppose with an ugly truth, right? That would kind of. I mean, I can just use persuasion. I'm not very good at it.
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense, right? There's obviously a bunch of peripheral stuff that's happening here, but at the end of the day, it's Dellon and Sergio persuading each other of this.
Could I use suasion, since it's a question of like the church's integrity or whatever, and not okay. I have one more die in suasion, so
yeah.
All right, great. Then can I use? I assume I can fork in doctrine, right?
Yes, of course.
Can I fork in observation? Since
no, because observation is specifically finding hidden people, not finding hidden emotions.
Okay. But if we're discussing like candidates, could I find like suspicious things about them but like deficiencies in their records or whatever? I mean, I don't know how involved this is going to be. This
is why we split observation into 3 different skills, because observation doesn't make sense for those sorts of uses.
Okay.
As it's written.
Right. Does Averio have magic?
He does not.
Okay.
Man, he has a lot of stuff to work with here. Oh, man. Well, your ob is 10.
16 dice? Jiminy.
He started with an 8 in persuasion, and he had so many forks.
Oh. That's rough.
He has a bunch of wises that make perfect sense for this.
Can I fork in ugly truth?
Yep.
Okay. Well, this is pretty. I don't even think I have 10 dice, but see how it goes. Nope.
Whoa, actually, so many 6s.
Pretty good
Dellon.
roll, though.
It was such a good roll.
I'm really glad I didn't spend my fate on that.
I know.
All right, hold on. Challenging
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
suasion.
6 dice you could roll altogether if you spend 2 fate.
Goodness. All right, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
That's crazy. All right. Remaining ob 4. Dice 6, you said?
Yep. You're
Jeez.
spending 2 fate, yeah.
How did I only get
Bummer.
2? How is that even?
Yeah, that's bad.
Oh, that's awful.
Cool, yeah, so he'll get I think I was going to do this by margin since we're doing one roll. So your margin of failure is 2, so he gets plus 2 dice.
Oh man, that's crazy. 6 exploding dice, and I got 2.
Yep.
Ugh.
Sergio didn't even spend any Arth on that.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't realize he was going to have 16 dice, or I would have not bothered.
All right, cool. Let's see. He is going to make 2. He has 8 extra dice. The op is 5. There you go.
Jeez.
Yeah. So, what do you think is more interesting? Connor mentioned, adding a new character, but is it more interesting to do Medetto or a new character?
I'd rather use a character we have.
That's what I figured.
Personally, yeah.
Yeah, so I think Medetto gets put in, and now he's going to be caught between the two of you constantly, right? He's going to have to decide like who's actually in the right here, right? Because he got convinced by you, and then he got convinced by Denzia, and so he's going back and forth here for sure.
He's a pushover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So from there, right, that's the kind of confrontation with Sergio figured out. Cantarius and or Theo, let's get some stuff from you guys as we wrap up the episode.
Yeah. Sorry to take it so much.
No, that was an important stuff we needed to do.
I wanted to see kind of what happened. I was kind of I kind of wanted David to lose, so it's more spicy if
I know, of course.
Yeah.
Sergio's got somebody in the.
Yeah.
And now I'm a bishop. I don't know what to do with that. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah. That's certainly not what I had in mind for this, but I think it makes total sense. As soon as you realize that like Armando also is like he needs to be kicked out. Oh, who would be the bishop? Oh, I guess it would be Dellon.
I guess I'll just make a bunch of faith rolls, right?
Yeah, we could do that. I mean, my question would be like, is there something that Cantarius and Theo can work on together so we can double up on a scene here? What are your guys' beliefs and stuff right now? Oh, Connor, you had a belief about helping Dellon, and you never helped Dellon. What do you say?
Not with this. This is
not with Sergio. Yeah.
Yeah. This is. First of all, it feels like it goes against. It would go against Cantarius' like newfound. I don't judge people anymore. Kind of.
Sure.
I'm not in charge of other people. But also, I think he still has like a fear of the church, like, and their authority, and that's part of the reason why he hates them. But with like in the same room with a newly aggressive Sergio, and Dellon is like challenging him, he was like,
I am staying out of this.
Yeah.
And really, what could he have done? Like,
just give him dice, right? At the very least.
No, I mean, in terms of Cantarius' character, Sergio won't listen to him. Why would he listen to him? You know what I mean? That's kind of how I was.
Let's see. So Theo has beliefs about, I guess he has a belief about helping HGF find and secure the keys. We must find out which one Faustus has and where he has it. That seems like the most obvious connection point between the two of you is like, get some more information on Faustus. Oh, didn't you guys get information on where they're going to have their next cult meeting from Antonius? I'm pretty sure that was the last thing that you guys got from Antonius as he's doing his like behind the scenes stuff with the guilds.
I remember that.
That was, I think, how we started the first episode, the last episode.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning it, but I wasn't sure if we got information or not.
I'm pretty sure you did. I don't think you failed that. I think you succeeded. I think you got information on like what the next cult meeting is. I guess I can look. Wow, there's so many dice being rolled here. Yeah, let me look at the chat real quick, and I'll see if I can find that. Otherwise, what other things would you want to work on? Because like the two beliefs that I see, the two beliefs that I see connecting you two are like the Cantarius wanting to go after Targoth and Theo wanting to find out more about Faustus and like whether or not he has.
What about finding out if the second belief?
Yes, you can work on that too. I just don't know how Cantarius fits into that. Like, we could just do it. That's fine. I just, if we could, finding something you could both work on would be fun. But it's fine if we can't.
I guess even if I knew, I probably wouldn't tell anybody.
That's what I was figuring, right?
Yeah.
That's like a Theo only thing. And we could always do like a side session with Theo, right? Where he like really tries to figure that out too. That could be a thing we do.
Okay.
Glancing back up here. What did we have? Yeah, here we go. I have a bunch of circles. Yes, he succeeded on all the relevant rolls he needed to. Yep, so Antonius did find out where the next cult meeting could be that you guys wanted to interrupt. So you could try to show up there if you wanted to. That could also escalate things, so up to you guys.
I'm good with that. Or what does Cantarius want to do?
It's like literally Cantarius' belief is Targoth is next, so...
Yeah, that's where I'm going.
But we could also do...
Did Cantarius say that out loud? Like, do I know? Like, oh yeah, he's going after Targoth. Like,
I don't necessarily think like after the demon realm stuff he said that yet.
how does he know who Targoth is right now?
Well, because the first roll that Cantarius made was to find out all the demons and people.
Oh yeah. And Targoth was one of the ones
Was
he
in
found out?
Faustus, yeah.
Yeah. Although if you're gonna...
Targoth...
Sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say Targoth is the demon you guys have been hunting, particularly.
Oh, I'm
the
thinking
main
of
demon.
Of the other god, the crate.
Krayos, yeah.
Krayos, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, Krayos and Targoth are different people.
Krayos and Targoth. Targoth is.
We did see a scene where Krayos told Eurus that you need to die now. Like Cantarius is going to kill you. Get over it.
Yeah.
So I think we know for sure now that Krayos is a demon, but at least in canon.
We know, but yeah.
So yeah, what were you saying, Connor?
Nothing. I didn't say anything.
Oh, sorry. Maybe David was going to say something.
Oh, I was gonna say if you guys do decide to crash a cult, you should let me come with you.
Yeah.
Just in case. Not that you can't handle yourself, but you know.
What do you mean?
Because
Wait, so what does the cult have to do with Targoth?
Yeah, so
It's
right now the
Targoth's cult,
situation,
right?
the
Basically.
situation in Lucerta. So you and Cantarius and Antonius have been wandering around Ceran, tracking down hints of this new cult that's brewing, the Harbingers. Targoth is the guy at the top of that. He's possessing Faustus, and Faustus is in charge of all the guilds of Lucerta, and the guilds right now are a front for this new cult.
This
So
I'm here for.
And we know all this info. I know we know Faustus is a demon, and I think we know he's Targoth, right?
you know all this information, yep.
But we know that the cult.
Cantarius at least has sussed it out, yeah.
Okay, so I knew we knew he would. I didn't know if we knew that he was.
Yeah.
Involved directly with the cult.
Yep. You know.
Don't
I think
know.
we like walk out of like Sergio's office and we're like, all right, it's time.
And again, it could not be time. Up to you guys what you want to actually pursue.
We can go after
So right
him.
now on the table is going to that cult meeting. Though we would have to figure out like what the purpose of that was. If it's just to get more information, then that's fine.
kill everybody, I assume.
But if you do that, then it escalates everything, right? We also have Cantarius, helping Dellon, and Theo with his stuff. I think the first place to start is probably Theo trying to figure out about the artifact that Faustus has, because if we're moving towards Targoth and Faustus, that's the thing that can be done before you guys actually show up at the cult. So that's fine with you guys. I think it makes sense to start there real quick.
Or where specifically? I mean,
So Theo, your belief is like you're helping HGF find the keys, and you want to find out which one Faustus has and where he has it. So that you could be a faith roll. It could be Theo sneaks into the cult meeting and tries to get information that way. I think at the very least you know that he has one, and that it's likely. I mean, he's the one who knows where it is. You know that the other one is in what's his face's possession, Gorath's possession right now, the like sun disc or whatever that Eurus was bound to. But I guess he's dead now. So I guess that destroys the bond, which means the artifact is now a thing again. You could attempt to destroy it or something, right?
That's really far away, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really far away. I'm planning on that being for like the last. That's the last one you guys are gonna figure out what to do.
Yeah, I think I want to go to the cult meeting. I don't.
Sure. Yeah, we can do that.
Like, since I'm like, I'm suspicious of my patron being. I'm kind of like.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I could go one side or another. So if they try to be like, I'm working for Krayos, and like I'm working for Krayos or something. I don't know. I won't say that, but I want to go to the meeting. I want to see.
Yeah.
I want to see Theo pretend to be a cultist, be like, "Hail Hydra."
Yeah. So is this Theo going by himself, or is this Cantarius and Dellon all three of you go to the meeting?
I think I say it out loud. Like I think we should. I think I should go to the meeting. I think he just says that kind of like, do you guys want to come, or I'm going to go alone? Like, is that like any objections?
I would accompany you, but if the new bishop shows up at a cult meeting, it might just be a slaughter, which is fine by me.
To be fair, Cantarius has illusion magic. He could make all of you guys look like other people.
Ooh,
that's true.
You muted, Connor.
Oh,
no, you're not.
Oh no, you're not. Oh yeah, it's when we're talking. Sometimes it just like cancels your voice out.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I would actually succeed at that though. That's my question.
Yeah, it would be against the perception of whoever is the highest perception there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm like kind of famous, but nobody's like, yeah, you're like, I'm not part of the church, so.
When you could be a cultist, you're not like, you're not associated with anybody.
Yeah.
You could just be
like, I see that guy who did Gladiator. Like, I might be famous, but nobody's gonna be like, oh yeah, he's a good guy or
yeah.
It's like every time you find out that a actor is a Scientologist or whatever.
Yeah. Like, oh, because there's Scientologist.
Like, all right.
Tom Cruise. Yeah, sure.
Makes sense.
That's hilarious.
Okay. So, is Cantarius coming with me, or?
Yeah, what's the plan?
Yeah, I think I'd come with you.
Would you take Dellon with you and do illusion magic on him, or no?
Is it harder to do it on two people as opposed to one?
It is. If the best case scenario would be Cantarius could do it on himself, easiest. But he could also do it if he did it just on Dellon. That would be the second easiest thing.
I'm probably the only person who needs it because you two could just be like, I'm here to join the cult, but no one would believe it if I said that.
Cantarius has so as a note, Cantarius does have a one die infamous
That's
reputation.
True.
So he'd have to make some sort of test to not be noticed. But it wouldn't have to be illusion necessarily.
Sure.
Dellon, I mean, you could both just make inconspicuous tests, but Dellon would have like +3 ob to that because he's like a really famous person in the city.
I also don't think I have it being learned, so
yeah, it would be auto fail.
Yeah.
So either way, I think Cantarius has to make some sort of easy test to disguise himself. Theo is probably fine, and then Dellon would be the person who's the hardest to hide.
I've also had the most stuff going on, so you can just go without me if you want.
Yeah, up to you guys. Because
I feel like Dellon has got some stuff going on. And,
I was gonna say this is probably literally Dellon just like getting ready to be a bishop, right?
Yeah. Cantarius and I have done this before. Like we've kind of been going around. So
this is your thing. You'll be fine.
Sure. Sounds good. Yeah. So Cantarius, do you want to hide yourself with magic or just make an inconspicuous test? What would you like to do?
I think it's got to be magic.
Yeah, you're gonna have more dice for sure. Certainly.
I thought it's got to be magic was Jared's belief or instinct.
Yeah. It just might work. All right, so I'm assuming you want this to cover like the whole scene.
Yeah. I did not understand what that terminology
As in, like, do you want it to last one test, and then you just turn into your normal self and it doesn't matter?
No.
Or do you want it to last for the whole scene?
Is he coming with us? I would think so.
Achia could come with you. Yeah, if you're trying to find out more specifically about the artifact, yeah, that could.
Yeah, I would want her to come.
Also, the
Yeah, let me-
difficulty modifier for 2 people is the same as like 5, right? It's just multiple people is the difficulty.
Yeah, it's multiple people up to, let's see, what does it say? A handful is what it says, as opposed to a crowd, right?
Right. So you might as well bring more people if you can. It doesn't make it any harder.
The thing is, only Cantarius actually needs to hide himself, because he has a reputation.
Right.
That's true. Yeah.
So Theo and Agia, I think, are just fine.
Let's bring Min too.
Yeah, sure, you could do that. There'd be no issue there. They have affiliations, but they don't have if their affiliation is with a top secret organization that nobody knows about. So
yeah,
I think they're fine.
What's the difficulty? Circle's difficulty to roll somebody with a specific name.
If the only criteria was have a name, just a 2.
Cool. I'm gonna find someone named Max so he can become Min's best friend. They can hang out.
The funny thing about that is I actually realized that it's probably actually pronounced, if we're talking about Chinese roots here, mean.
Yeah, you're probably right.
But I don't like the way that sounds. So
yeah.
After
he wasn't very nice when we met him. So
right, yeah. So Cantarius, the roll here is going to be against whoever has an observation skill or whatever, or maybe just a perception test, and then +1 for it being lasting a scene, as opposed to just one test. So let me check if there's anyone. So is this the sort of test? Is this the meeting? Is the meeting you're going to like one that what's his face is speaking at? Is that your goal here? Is to like go to one that Faustus is going to be at, so you can get more information on him in person?
Well, this is Theo's idea. What's Theo's?
Well, I think Theo wanted to find out about the artifact. I think that probably makes the most sense. Is like a meeting Faustus is at, right?
See if he like pulls it out or something. Or...
Yeah, exactly. Does he have an amulet on him at all times, right? That sort of thing.
Except that then Faustus will just be like, "Hey, you with the illusion."
Yeah.
We're not gonna be like right next to him. We'll be like,
yeah. So if that's the case, Faustus is the one you're rolling against here, Cantarius. In which case, let me find out what he would have available to him.
Maybe you should just find a makeup artist.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, Faustus has like aura reading and stuff, right? Like,
right. So if he looks at you and sees a giant beacon of illusion magic, then you've done the opposite of what you want. But if you just look like a slightly older, slightly different colored person, then he'll be
I don't think that's how it works. Like, I think like you successfully hiding himself is like he could see Cantarius's aura, but he couldn't see that he looks like a different person if he succeeds. So Cantarius, you have what? Like, don't you have aura of determination? He could see that. He could attempt to read traits on you, right? Like that's something he could attempt to do with just aura reading. But if you're doing this magic to hide the way you look, that's the only thing he's going to see unless he specifically tries to find magic stuff, right?
Okay.
Let's see if he has observation. He does. So it's going to be trained. You'll get an automatic free success on this, but I'll go ahead and make a roll for him. Let's see what he has. Does he have any forks to observation? He can fork in astrology. He's not doing aura reading during the meeting, probably, unless there was a particular impulse or an impetus to do so. He doesn't have it on all the time, so he can't do that automatically. Let's see. He actually has the disguise skill, but that doesn't help him notice disguises per se. He might not have a whole lot of other skills here. Yeah, he doesn't actually have a whole lot of wises. He has a lot of skills. But
what you're saying is I have a chance.
I think you do. Yeah.
That is what you're saying?
I think so, yeah. That was actually a pretty bad roll. So you get your ob is 3, but you get a free success added tacked on.
Nice.
So I'm gonna fork in.
Don't screw this up.
And I'm gonna fork in physical and sensory.
Sure, yeah.
Anatomy.
Not physical. Sensory makes sense, but like you're not actually changing the way you look physically. Like the whole goal here is to make sure people don't notice.
can't I just like use the physical, like fork in the physical discipline, and that I'm like there's certain parts of my physique.
Oh
that
yeah, just to make the illusion make more sense. Yeah, I see. So if someone touched you, yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
like removing that one freckle I've always.
Right, yeah.
There's just like an extra inch of random mass on your head, so if someone touches the top of your head when you're taller,
Exactly.
they feel skin.
Shape of my face, like the change of my head. I could like alter the angles.
Give yourself some minor plastic surgery real quick.
Yeah, just minor.
Yeah.
A second nose.
In the far future of this world, where all celebrities use the physical discipline, and
honestly, yes, plastic surgery is certainly something that's in the future for physical discipline. We've already seen Gorath use it.
Yeah.
Wait, what are we saying, Connor?
They fork in cult doctrine to know, like, if there's like a special war paint or like something else.
Oh, sure, yeah. If you're making a specific, disguise as a cultist, so that makes sense.
So that's 5 helping dice. Theo, you got anything you want to help with?
He has conspicuous.
Yeah, he draws attention away from you by being obvious. It's like how. Sorry, go ahead.
Wanted Dellon to come with, right?
What?
Come with?
Dellon's not coming with.
He's not coming with. Oh, right, because you're right. You said because you just made Bishop. You think it looks.
Right.
Okay.
I just made Bishop. Let's party at a cult.
Yeah.
Time to go to the orgy, guys.
Yeah. Well, he did say I could do the demon thing, so
right.
I'll just go do the demon thing, kill everybody.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, and you would have gotten 5 successes altogether. So, with your
nice.
Oh, look at all those 2s, 5 2s.
Wow.
Or wait a second. No, it was the other way around. Sorry. You got an extra obstacle because you were doing it for the scene. That's what it was. It wasn't you getting an extra success. So it was actually 4 against 4.
So
Doesn't change anything, but you succeeded. So
I was like, but I succeeded.
that was my bad. Yeah, you're still good. Yeah, so Cantarius, you look like a cult or some random worker. And the thing is, like, Cantarius can do this pretty easily, role playing wise, right? As a person, because he was a tinkerer, right? So, you were a craftsman at one point, and those are the people who are here right now, right? As workers and stuff. Theo is the one who definitely stands out but he doesn't stand out in the way that would like get you guys caught, right? It's just like, who's that guy? Like, why is he here? Sort of thing, right? I guess he's showing up. He heard the news. But yeah, so you guys are where exactly? Just like in the crowd somewhere?
Yeah.
What kind of place is it?
It's probably I'm thinking like a courtyard in between several buildings, right? Like somewhere where like a dead end street leads here, but like it's more or less just like it's like a cul-de-sac, if whatever the medieval fantasy
cul-de-sac
city version of a cul-de-sac is, right?
Yeah.
And so yeah, big crowd over here in the like artisan district around that area. A whole bunch of people there. I assume you probably don't want to meet up with Antonius because I think Antonius has started going to these meetings because that's like part of his cover. But I think we maybe see him in the crowd at a distance, but like you're not like meeting up with him here because that would be suspicious. You don't want to draw attention to him.
Don't be suspicious.
And so I think you just there's a crowd kind of milling about waiting for Faustus to arrive. And then you see let's see, who is there anyone else here that is important? I don't think so. I think you just see Faustus eventually, right? Walk in. He probably is flanked by various guild masters and stuff, right? His officers in the cult. The leader of the blacksmiths guild and the leader of the glassblowers guild and whatever. They're kind of flanking him as he comes up on this like makeshift platform they've erected in this little cul-de-sac over here, and raises his hands to quiet the crowd. And as a reminder, Faustus is played by Mads Mikkelsen. So kind of neatly trimmed, gray hair, slight beard.
It always looks like this.
Yeah, always kind of it's a frown or an intense expression. And yeah, he starts giving like the spiel, right? Like, my brothers, soon Lucerta will know the lie. It will understand that there is no God. There is no heaven. There is only us here. The men who work and sweat and toil to prop up their hierarchy. But on the other end of this path we are on, there's freedom. Freedom to be who you desire. For your desires to blossom into full array. Yeah, that is why they just call it justice. Because it's just us. Very funny, David.
Thanks. I didn't want to interrupt, but I wanted to make
No,
sure.
you're good. You're good. Yeah, and he just starts going on that, right? Like the sort of like anarchy for the people,
I don't know.
sort of.
He's kind of speaking to me a little bit. Huh?
Yeah. You guys can be convinced by it if you'd like to.
He's like, stupid gods. There's nothing. He was like, I don't know.
Right, yeah, sure.
He's like, I don't know.
He was like, "Hey, sorry, Cantarius, I'm gonna sign up."
This in the side glance, like,
Well, he's clearly being deceived because it says never heed power. That's his instinct. So he's kind of like, well, I hate the gods. And
Yeah.
Either they do exist and I hate them, at least the minor gods, or they're just all evil and maybe I should be on the, like, I don't think he wants to like kill all the good guys. Like it's more like I hate the gods, but I don't hate you guys, and maybe you guys support the gods, but I don't.
Right.
Maybe you'll just become collateral damage on my path to ultimate power, but
yeah.
But what do we see from Theo and Cantarius as you're watching him? You can make rolls now to like decipher information about him or whatever.
I think Theo starts to slowly move closer.
Yeah, moving up in the crowd.
He's just deadlocked on him, and he's just moving closer because he's kind of like he's trying to see him a little bit more, but he's also kind of like listening to what he's saying.
Sure.
And also looking on his person to see if he pulls anything out.
Mm-hmm.
Cantarius is going to try and intimidate him, so he's just going to reveal himself.
You know who we need right now is Alphonse. Could he teleport like right next to him and grab if we found something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, like this guy's powerful enough that like even Alphonse might not be able to get away with something like that before the guy.
Well, they just like teleport, grab it, run away. And, like it's not necessarily like he's like.
Yeah, but if Alphonse fails that, then like Faust just one punches him, right? Like
One punch.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
So I can see the bonds of demons, right? That's not a roll, right? I can just see that. We've described
it is a roll. It's an oral reading roll. Yeah. So for you, intellectual discipline.
Oh, okay. I don't remember us ever having.
Well, you had to roll the first time, right?
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
when you at the speech when you found the two main demons in the city, that was a roll.
Oh,
Yeah, I
that's
mean, even the second sight trait, like you have to activate it, right?
yeah. I forgot. I wasn't trying to cheat.
No, you're fine.
Almost.
But I mean, also you already know who the demons are, so.
In the room he saw before, right?
Wait, okay.
Yeah, but that was like everybody.
There are guild leaders here and stuff that like might be possessed too. Yeah.
I want to do something, but I don't know if it's going to work. I kind of want to. Can he? Did you say he can or cannot read our minds?
He has the ability to read a lot about you, but he doesn't automatically have like mind reading now.
I kind of want to like speak up over him, like within the crowd, and because I don't think there's going to be an easy way to get close to him. And so, what if I sort of joined him if anyone, it would be me. Like, it's not like, oh yeah, I'm totally for the gods, and then he's like, I think you're lying. It's kind of like I have some reason that he might believe it, and to be honest, Theo's kind of like, I'm not really sure what I believe, and so maybe if the demons like gave me power and I could get my vengeance on the gods, like maybe I don't know if it's like real, and so if he just kind of spoke up and kind of showed his support for Faustus, would he just be like, no, I don't like you, I don't know.
So your intent would be what, to like get him to prod him about, like, maybe imply like you're coming to this meeting for the first time. There are people who are coming to this meeting for the first time, right?
Yeah, I mean,
and so like basically just ask him like, what are you going to do for me? Like, what is this? Are you trying to like actually inquire about the cult?
Well, I don't want to. He's not assuming that the god he's believing in is Kraos.
You would to name drop Kraos?
Possibly, because he's like, in the off chance this is Kraos, I might have some leverage, because he's kind of like, I'm sure Kraos might think, oh, he might know it's me. And so he's kind of like conflicted of, is this the true god? Is this Kraos?
I mean, Theo, you could certainly say something like, given the vibe of about the cult here, right? You could say something like, I received a dream recently, right? Like, and I heard the name, a man named Kraos told me to seek you out. Right?
Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna speak to him, and if things start going badly, then I'll name drop Kraos. Like,
okay, sure. Real quick, does Cantarius want to do any order first?
I was gonna like say something, so I was gonna like shout out, and so he's probably gonna stop talking. So he's just like,
sure, yeah.
This man speaks truth.
Well, real quick, so before you do that, I think there is a moment here where Cantarius, would you like to do aura reading first?
So a question real quick. If I did aura reading before, wouldn't I have seen what he was bonded to? Or perhaps he just didn't have it on him?
Yeah, the thing you did, though, was you tried to find out if they have the possessed trait. That was the specific mechanical thing you were doing. As a note, I just looked at his character sheet again. He actually has the obscure aura trait, which means all tests to read this character's aura are made at double obstacle penalty. So you wouldn't have succeeded on the roll you made originally. I already gave it to you, obviously, but like, he's actually, I intentionally thought of this when I made the character to make it harder for you to read the dude, and I totally forgot in that first session.
Oh, man.
Also, he would have failed the very first.
It's possible maybe in the narrative that like he noticed that, like Targoth noticed that someone read him and then got put up the walls, and so now it's more difficult.
He got the trait afterwards.
Yeah.
That
makes sense.
Doubled up. Well, shoot. What's the point in trying now, except for getting a challenging intellectual discipline roll, I suppose?
Well, you can always just kill the body he's in. That counts. He's bonded to the body.
But then I'm killing the person.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's that. That's true.
The one thing that does say here is this penalty does not apply to detecting spells cast by or on the character. So that is a thing.
Okay.
That wouldn't include his bonds, would it?
No, yeah, the bonds would be like traits. So
wait, so what is Cantarius doing?
I'm looking to see what he's bonded to.
Yeah, the thing is, Cantarius, you don't know he has the trait yet, so I think you would try that anyway, right?
What do you mean?
I think you would.
You don't know that he's hard to read.
Yeah, exactly. If you were going to try to read something, you would do it anyway. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm going to try it, but I'm trying to figure out what I work in. What did I do last time?
What are you actually trying to do? What are you trying to find out?
To see what he's bonded to.
Just find out everything he's bonded to.
How about I find one thing on his person that he's bound to? Is that like an ear? Or...
Yeah, the intent is basically like figure out if he has the like.
He has an artifact.
An artifact on him. Yeah, I mean the thing is, you could do that without reading him, right? You don't have to know if he's bonded to the artifact. You could just be like, is there an artifact around here?
Oh yeah, I don't have to find the trait.
You don't have to read him
to see if there's an artifact that's bound to a demon in this room.
Or no, not even then. Like, you know that the artifact... Oh, I see what you're saying. Technically, this guy is supposed to have one of the keys, too. So you could try to look for that. And then from there, try to be like, is there a demon bound to this as well? Right? That's something you could try.
I'm less concerned about the artifacts.
Sure.
I'm sure we should do both, but I just
Your goal is to find a.
I want to find something we can destroy so we can kill him.
Yes. Of course, that makes sense.
So what's
all right? Cool. Yeah, let me figure out what you're actually doing here. So it's probably one of the aura reading things. So let's check out aura reading.
intellectual, sensory?
But yeah, as soon as he finishes doing this, Adam, you can certainly shout out at the guy. All right, so yeah, I think there's like a find a magic object. Reading an object to see if it is magical or mundane is ob 1, but that's if you already know what object you're looking at, right? If you just choose an object and do it.
Okay.
So I guess let's make this.
I could just do that for everything I see on him, right?
Yes, I suppose, but I think it makes more sense to do one roll and have it be. I think let's make an ob 5 roll, and you can determine if there's any magic items around, right?
Okay. So it's intellectual, forking in sensory. Can I fork in cult doctrine to maybe be able to see if there's anything like cult specific, like a cult specific item that he would have bound himself to?
So basically something on him, or what do you mean by that exactly?
Perhaps there's like a statue in the room that he's bound himself to.
Oh, you're trying to fork cult doctrine into this.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. I don't think
Relevant
so, no.
What he might have bound himself to.
No, I don't think
that has something to do with the cult he started.
I don't think so, no.
Okay. I think that's all I got then. Just forking in sensory. I don't think it's anything I can fork in.
Yeah.
Um,
so off 5.
I'm gonna, and this will reveal any and all, right?
Yeah, in the room, are there any magic items?
I'm gonna throw in your persona into this then.
Some boots of speed in the corner.
Yeah. And you said Ob is 5?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Nice. Oh yeah, you spent 3 persona. That'd do it.
That'll do it.
Cool. Yeah, that's a good question. I'm sure he would have something on him that's bound. I'm actually just trying to decide in this moment
what it would be.
Specifically what's the key, right? And I think we know it's an amulet, I think. No, we had a medallion already. What is the I don't know if we know what the artifact is supposed to be, the key, the last key that you're supposed to find. But either way, I'm trying to decide if that is something he keeps on his person and what it is, because that would be something you would find if he had it on him, whether or not he's bound to it as a demon. But I had like an idea here, and I'm trying to decide if I want to go with it. David and I were brainstorming a while ago about something, and I
don't remember.
Well, I didn't tell you what I came up with.
Oh,
but
okay.
What you were saying like triggered something that I thought would be fun. Let me check. At the very least, I'm sure. Yeah, I guess this matters because it's either.
What's the sense of reason that most demons would keep their stuff on them if they don't have access to some super safe vault, right? Because then they know it's not being destroyed.
Yeah, and so here's the thing. I'm wondering. It's smart for a demon, as we know with Eurus, to bind to one of these keys because they're powerful magic artifacts already, right. And they can protect. Like it's hard to destroy those things. Right. Yeah, no, that makes the most sense. It has to be him already having it on him and having bound to it because that makes it the hardest for you. He would be smart about this. So let's see. We had a chalice. We had like an amulet. We had the sun disk that Gorath has. and the orb. So let's say the last thing is a ring, right? And he's wearing the ring, right? That's one of the easiest things to keep on your person.
I don't think we're gonna easily get that off.
Exactly. Yeah, you cut off his hand or whatever, but
It's a tattoo. You have to flay his skin off.
yeah. So he's wearing a ring, Cantarius, and it's very obviously magical. By far the very, very powerful magic item. Probably the most powerful you've seen since you got this ability.
What you're saying is you need to start training in my pickpocketing. Get my skill up to 100.
Yeah, yes.
That special perk where you can pickpocket.
Yeah, we'll just pause the main campaign right now, go on a bajillion side quests for the Thieves Guild in town.
And then you can steal the armor he's wearing. You won't even notice.
Exactly. But I think you find one other thing in the room, right? And it's something that because Cantarius never thought to look for this before, he didn't really think about it. But because you're doing like a thorough sweep of the room and like looking at any item you see on you or whatever, or any item you can sense, right? I think you notice there's a man in the crowd who has like a pocket mirror in his pocket.
Pocket mirror and what?
Yeah. And you, for a second, you're like, oh, that's interesting. It's like has a faint magic aura around it, as if it was like made with magic somehow and like has a lingering aura. And then you realize when you get out of your second sight, you realize who you're looking at, and it's Antonius.
Knew it.
Wait, what?
And you remember the mirror that was used in the ritual way back when, in first season to like do the ritual that like leached the green smoke out of your staff and like let Alphonse find the orb. Antonius has just been keeping on him this whole time. He didn't get rid of it. It's just like like a mirror that he keeps on himself to like trim his beard, right? But for whatever reason, Cantarius never like noted and maybe even was that like Cantarius wasn't good enough at his skill before to notice this because it's so faint. But at the very least, right now, that's when you actually realize. And it's not that it's inherently magical itself, like it has some sort of magic power to it, but it was made by magic. Cantarius knows this.
Okay.
So, yeah, just an extra tidbit you find out. But yeah, the only other magical thing that's in the room is the ring that he's wearing. And you can tell that it's both the last key and the thing he's bound to.
Okay.
And to be honest, okay. So from there, would you try to read Faustus and decipher if he's bound to anything else, or would you leave it at that?
I don't know.
Technically, it's in some ways it's good for them to be bonded to more things because they recover faster, but it also means they're more likely to be like.
It's good for you to have him bound to multiple things, and so that would you're not going to be able to just just hit this with a hammer or something to destroy the ring.
Because there's almost something to be said of never bounding to anything other than a person, because then as long as the people who are attacking you don't want to murder the person, they can't do anything else to you. But I mean, all you have to do is find someone who's willing to murder a person, and you're in danger. But yeah. It's just, I wonder if, especially because he's bound to something that's indestructible, there really isn't any reason for him to bind to anything else, right?
And to be honest, I think that's probably the case. Cantarius would have to decipher that for sure with a roll, but at the very least, you know that like the demons know now, right? About actually, maybe you don't know, because I think you tried to kill all the demons that were in that.
We did, yeah.
Yeah, I think you think that they don't know, but Theo's connection to Kraos is the thing that lets the demons know this, right? You just didn't know that Kraos was tagging along with you on that mission. Yeah, so I feel like Cantarius would probably attempt to read his aura too.
See it again.
I feel like it makes sense that Cantarius would attempt to read his aura too, but we can probably actually go to Theo for now.
Here's what he does. He looks behind. I'm assuming I'm probably ahead because I'm like slowly moving up.
Yeah, you were slowly
moving around, and he looks at Cantarius and Asia, and he smiles and winks at them both, and he mouths the words "trust me," and then he turns around and he's like, "This man speaks truth." Do I need to roll a conspicuous roll to see if everybody like looks at me? Or
Aisha just sighs and face palms. So yeah, Theo, I think you can make a conspicuous test, right? You're certainly interrupting a big speech, right?
Right.
And this is mainly, do they pay attention to you?
Kind of like, hey, everybody, I'm right here. Like,
it's not so much do you interrupt things, but like, do they pay attention? Do you actually give you an audience, right? Like, do they listen to you?
Okay.
Yeah. So it's conspicuous test. The obs are determined by like what's going on around you, how hard it is.
Not conspicuous.
Does he have a reputation?
Somewhat, but not a one that would ruin my ruin my cover here. I don't think.
No, I was wondering if
he has a reputation, and no, he can get a bonus dice for this.
Yeah.
He has a reputation as a gladiator, so people can notice you easier.
Yeah, because they know who you are, so they're more likely to actually listen to what you're saying instead of being like, "Who's this random drunk guy?"
Yep. Yeah, you can take an advantage there. The ob is going to be 3, and the intent, the success here would mean they not only let you interrupt Faustus, but they all give you a hearing, right? They listen to you, as opposed to if you fail, you're going to interrupt for a second, but then some guards or some cult members are going to go and be like, "Come on, son, get out of here!" Like you're interrupting the great Faustus, right?
Okay, I'm gonna fork in oratory too.
Okay, makes sense.
Anything else I could probably work in, or?
I'm not looking at your sheet. Let me see.
Command is separate, isn't it? That's more like.
Yeah, that would be if you're trying to like actually convince them of something. Right now, you're just trying to get their attention.
How about arena-wise? We're kind of in an arena.
Yes. And honestly, actually, I think command makes more sense than oratory, right? So you can get command instead of oratory, right? Sharp barking commands as opposed to. No, they both make sense because oratory is like you're projecting your voice with oratory, right? Because you know speaking techniques, and then you can get people's attention with command. I think both of those make sense. Because the thing is, if you fail this roll, you're not going to be able to speak to them anyway. So it's not like you should save them to do the real roll.
Okay.
Can you fork in persuasion? I assume.
It doesn't matter. I passed it. I do.
Nice.
Even with your wounds. Good job.
Oh wow! I forgot you had wounds.
Oh yeah, did you ever get healed for that?
No, I don't think so.
Did you? I think you might have had a serious wound, and then it went down to midi. I think that's what
I
happened.
thought it was something. I don't think it was. It shouldn't be. I don't think it should be that bad anymore. Not minus.
Yeah, no. Because I have written down here the recovery, so we already did it.
Yeah, didn't you say it was gonna take like months to heal away or something like that?
Yeah. What happened is, Theo, you started with a midi wound, didn't get it treated in time. It progressed to a serious wound, and then you got it treated, and so it went back down to a midi wound. For purposes of dice, that you have missing is 2 dice. And in 1.5 months, you'll recover one of those dice back. In another 1.5 months, you'll get both of them back.
Wow.
Yeah. Wounds suck in Burning Wheel.
Well, why does it hurt my like non-physical traits?
I mean, you are being physical here. You're projecting your voice. You're trying to get attention.
It doesn't hurt faith, right?
It doesn't hurt faith, no.
Okay.
It doesn't hurt emotional attributes and things like that. But like anything that's like a skill or a stat, yeah.
What about will? Is that?
Yep. Harder to focus when you're in pain. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
You get their attention. Everybody stops,
this man
right?
Speaks truth.
Yeah.
Everyone looks at me and he starts like kind of like slowly walking forward, and he's like,
"Sure.
Too long have I paid attention to the gods, but they've only turned their backs on me." And
Faustus is smiling, right? He's just like, "Oh, okay. I know who this guy is. Interesting."
What's my last name? I don't even know.
I don't think you you had one, I'm sure, but I don't think you've gone by a last name for forever. You were a noble, so you had one at some point.
Do I have like a title? I guess like a made up last name, like.
So your reputation is the man of 1,000 lives.
Yeah.
So that's like the title that people know you.
But I call myself like Theo blank. Like Oakenshield. They just kind of call him that. It's not really like his last name.
I think you would say probably Theo Ocean's Death.
I'm Theo Ocean's Death.
That's another title you had as a gladiator.
Yeah. And I've been betrayed by the church and by the gods. They've never done anything for me. And I've realized that there are no gods. And he turns around and he looks like right at Cantarius and he's like, only demons. Yeah, he like slowly turns around and then he says that.
Okay. Why are you drawing
He
attention to
turns back
Cantarius
around.
exactly?
I don't know. He's trying to like add theatrics to it.
Right. Okay. And I feel like it would make more sense if you're not like just turning around and looking straight at Cantarius,
No.
but like,
I think,
you just like glance back. Yeah, you just gotta
glances back.
Yeah.
Cantarius's anime version gets like the little sweat. He's like,
Yeah.
And I think he looks back at Faustus. I don't know that it's the ring, right?
Connor,
sorry,
did you tell him it was the ring, or did you?
I don't. Well, it sounded like Theo was gonna like break into this while Cantarius was reading the room.
It sort of seemed that way, yeah.
Well, I think I was trying to look at like a thing on him that might be, so maybe I like, yeah, that could be it. I don't know. He kind of like glances at his ring. He's like, oh, maybe that's
Yeah, he's
it.
wearing the ring, so that's fine. Yeah.
Like he's trying to look for like a piece.
You don't know the significance of the ring, but you can see he's wearing one.
Right. And I'm trying to look at things that could be. And so I'm like, maybe that's it. Maybe there's a medallion. So I'm just kind of like pointing out things in my head.
Sure.
And maybe that's it.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think he looks back at Faustus and like waits for a response.
Yeah. And you just said there are no gods, there are only demons. Like, what did you end with?
That's what I said. That was the last thing.
Oh, that was the last thing. Okay, yeah. So I think he says.
Oh, wait, no, actually, I want to say one more thing. He said,
"Yeah, go
ahead. I desire vengeance."
Sure. Yeah, he says, "Brothers and go ahead."
How much of this is Theo being real?
That's why I think he could be convincing, because half of it he's like, he might kind of means it a little bit.
Yeah.
He's kind of just like, he's playing both sides almost.
Oh yeah, you definitely.
So he's not really sure. He's not like, oh yeah, I'm totally working for the good side. He's kind of like, let's see where this goes. But
yeah, so
he knows. I
Faustus...
think he knows that he has to get like, he's like trying to see if he can get close to Faustus and like see where that goes. And like, if he gets, gains his trust, and maybe he can get the ring, maybe he'll get power. He's kind of like, well, I know that this is probably the best way that we could.
Boromir.
Yeah.
Get the ring, get power.
Yeah. Well, he knows that like maybe he could get power from joining this side, but he's kind of like, well, if I'm not, things don't go, then I'm probably gonna have to be close to him anyways, because I don't think we're just gonna like fight him. He's trying to like,
So Faustus, he says, brothers and sisters, do you not see the power that this message has? The message of freedom. What have the gods done for us? Nothing, they shout in response, right? Our friend here, Theo, or should I say Thanos, Ocean's death, the man of 1,000 lives, one of the deadliest gladiators in Lucerta's history. He sees the truth. He sees that there are no gods, only demons. And the people aren't entirely sure what he means by that at first. And Faustus thinks for a moment as to like whether or not he should be like, and the demons give us power, or
lean into it.
I think he will lean into it, but not in the same sense. He says,
wait.
He should reveal his demon power or whatever.
But hold on. You could say that the gods are demons, and that he's like, like the term, what you're thinking of the gods are actually the demons.
Right, and the demons are the gods. Yeah.
Yeah, and the demons are the gods.
What were you saying, Connor?
Or he's an angel, and the demons are the church. Right?
Yeah, I think this is what he's going to go with. He's going to say, right, there are no gods, there are only demons. And he says, for too long has the church taken power for themselves, refused to give up their authority to those who would find the truth, find their own power. But there are beings out there. Beings that existed before the gods, before the church. And those beings are the true gods, the true rulers of this world. And with their strength and their might, our chains can be broken. The church calls them demons, devils, dragons, whispers in the night, shadows in the darkness. But I tell you, the darkness is our strength. Darkness is our power, because darkness is where we hide. Darkness is where we can strike at the church and their lies, their deceptions, their angels of light, their gods, their patron saints, their great God are nothing but illusions, tricks of the light. I ask you, Thanos, will you fight these demons with me? Will you fight alongside us, brothers and sisters in arms? Will you rise up against the church, claim Lucerta for its true masters? Every man his own master, every woman her own mistress. And then he looks at you for confirmation.
He says,
wait, Connor, what are you saying?
Cantarius wants to use the intellectual discipline to send a thought to Theo to say no. Say no and challenge his power. See if you can split the cult.
Pull the classic Crow Inquisitors trick.
Oh man.
Yeah. Here. That's a test, obviously. It's not a hard test, but let's see. I think it's using. There really should be a. You should be able to, for practical magic and intellectual discipline, do signaling as a skill, which is basically the actual skill in Burning Wheel is like using flags on a ship to, like, from a distance to get, like, purvey a message. But the idea here would be you'd be using similar obs to try to, like, telepathy people, right? Give people a command or an order or ask a question or whatever. So you're trying to just say no, split the cult. I think that's going to be an just an ob 2, because it's against someone else, right? It's against Theo, and not you're trying to signal to yourself something. Not that that would make sense, but I think it makes sense to make it ob 2. There you go.
Dang it, that's the best roll I've ever.
Is it possible to, like, have a conversation with him, since is he just sending one word, or is he, like, speaking?
That was the test that Cantarius just made, but technically he can instead do, like, give you a die trait that would give you guys telepathy with each other. Right? He did that for him and Gorath earlier for a scene, right?
Right. I remember that being difficult though.
Yeah, it was like a 4 or 5 or a 6 or something along those lines. So
that's the test.
Yeah, that would have been.
Oh yeah.
Good. But I think for now, Cantarius just sends you that message, and then the connection dies, right? So you just hear that whispered command from Cantarius, Theo. Whether or not you would like to do it is up to you.
So I can't respond back to him?
No.
I think what he says is he kind of glances back, but it, like, doesn't. I mean, obviously he's looking at Cantarius, but
you're like half looking over your shoulder, so you can, like, Cantarius knows he's looking back at you, but, like, no one else knows who you're looking at.
He says, "Unto death," and he kneels before him.
Unto death. Okay, so this is Theo joining the cult as a spy, basically, as a
yes. But okay. I don't know if Cantarius knows that. I think he's
it's entirely possible Theo's not a spy, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Yeah.
Well, I think just outside. I think he knows that either way. I don't think how difficult it was to fight those other guys, and he's like, I think this guy is the real deal, and so I don't think that we're just going to be able to fight him. So I think he's just kind of taking charge and, like, I'm going to infiltrate this. And but secretly he's like, let's see where this goes. Maybe I'll actually join him, but I think that's what he's going by for now.
Sounds good. Yeah. So this is an oratory test to convince Faustus and the crowd that you're being sincere. Otherwise, I think
he is sincere. Because he said
but
you want to take down the church, and I don't like the church.
Yes. No, I agree. That's why it's an oratory, not a falsehood, right? You still need to convince them that this is true. I think the failure here is not that they're going to refuse you coming into the cult. It's just that Faustus is going to probably try to imprison you or something instead of he's going to be like, yeah, come on, come in. And then he's at the first opportunity, he's going to be like, you're actually working with
I have a plan.
People who hate demons, right? Yeah.
It's probably going to be bad.
Oratory test.
For it if I fail.
Faustus is the person you have to convince, unfortunately. His will is 8. I think we'll go ahead and give you 2 dice of advantage because I think this is something he wants to believe. Yeah, sure. Because you don't need to convince the crowd so much as just convince Faustus. That makes sense. Yeah. You can fork in oratory because you're being speechy, but yeah, sure.
If it's something that they want to believe, do we add dice or do we decrease the ob?
Yeah, add dice. You usually don't decrease the ob. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So what am I forking or getting advantage?
Yeah, so you are rolling persuasion. You can probably fork in. I'll give you an advantage die for your successful conspicuous test earlier, right? So persuasion. Arena-wise, you can fork in again, right? Like the situation is still like you're framing it as if it's like a gladiator swearing field. Like this is very similar to the moment where Vada freed you from being a gladiator, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where he was like, "Well, you fight for the church," sort of thing. Like, and you're like, "On to death," right? Like to just get out of being a gladiator.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of parallels there for sure. So you can fork in that. You can fork in oratory, obviously, as we said.
So that's 3 or 4.
So far, it's 1, 2, 3, and then you can have 2 more dice for if this is something that he's amiable towards. He wants to believe you. So that's 5 advantages so far, and then I think you can also fork in soothing platitudes, right? Like you're trying to make sure that he doesn't see through any lingering like Theo wants to kill the demons thing.
If I try to do something that would if he doesn't believe me, and is there something I could do that I don't know if I would re-roll or something? Like I do something additional, like, hey, if you don't believe me, or he acts like I don't believe me, or just to prove that I'm more serious.
The issue here is that Theo will not know. The failure condition here will be Theo will not know that Faustus sees through it. Right? Or doesn't believe you or whatever. And you'll join the cult, and then that's when Faustus will attack you and imprison you, right? So yeah, I don't think Theo's aware. Base op 8. Ooh, very close though. Even with your wounds, very close. No 6s though, so you can spend 1 fate to do a coin flip. 50-50 chance you succeed here. You have 16 fate, so yeah.
Wait, what?
Oh, why 4 versus 8? I have literally no clue why I thought it was 1 away from succeeding.
Oh, I was like, what am I looking at here?
But it wasn't close at all. Yeah, I don't know why I thought that. Zero clue why I thought that. Might as well spend it anyway, though, right? So remaining out 4 though. Well, you got a success, but no cigar. Yeah, I mean, I think this is probably the way this goes down. Faustus isn't a dummy. Targoth knows way more about you, Theo, than you know that he knows, right? And so I think it makes sense that he'd be like, we welcome our brother with open arms, right? And then Theo's joining the cult, but next session, Faustus is gonna, capture you, torture you, do something, right?
Interrogate me, or is he just
something like that? I'll figure it out for next time. But at the very least, he thinks that you're just here to sabotage him. So, yeah, cool. We can probably just end there. Cantarius, as the meeting is ending, did you want to make that one last roll to or read him?
To or read who?
Faustus, to see if he has any other bonds.
Yeah, I do. I'll do that.
Okay, so that's I think ob 5.
And I can only fork in sensory.
I think it's ob 5 because it's you're just trying to find out his possessed trait, right? Which will show you the the extra. Let's make it a 6 altogether, because if this guy has multiple bonds, you'll have to trace them all, and that will be a little bit more difficult.
That was so
Okay.
good.
Very close. You gotta. It automatically rerolled the 6, but you can spend 1 fate.
Six.
Yeah, so a 1 in 12 chance, but if you have enough fate, might as well spend it. Stranger things have happened.
Not for me though. Oh,
Wow.
So close. Yeah, so I think you hit. Oh, sorry. This would have doubled. I forgot. You would have failed no matter what. Because he has the obscure aura thing. But this is the thing that's telling you that, right? This is the roll that's saying like, okay, he has his walls up now. Like, this is going to be way harder to read anything off of him in the future.
Yeah.
So makes sense. Do you need a difficult or a challenging roll on your intellectual?
I think I need one for both. Or no, because I just made one that was. I just made that was difficult, so I just need the challenging.
Yeah, so I mean, it would have been a challenging anyway. I was just going to give you a difficult if you needed one, because I didn't say that in advance. Because it would have been an ob 12 instead. So, yeah. So did you advance in intellectual? Nice.
And stay for bits.
What?
I can't stay for bits. I gotta go.
All right, sounds good. Yeah. You're just gonna leave. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. I was like, as long as he just leaves the laptop there, everything's fine. All right, cool. Yeah, that was awesome. And that's the last thing we see, right? Is Cantarius reading the guy and being like, "There's nothing. I can't get nothing off this guy." Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and get
You probably
Cantarius.
should have read me.
Well, say again.
You probably should have
Read you.
intellectual discipline on me.
Yeah. And maybe he does that later, but yeah. Okay, cool. So Cantarius, he gets Fate for Targoth is next, right? You're working towards that. He probably needs to write more than just Targoth is next, but he increased his skill in the intellectual discipline, so that's a persona. He didn't help Dellon. He decided to specifically not to help Dellon. Let's see. I don't think any of his instincts got him into trouble. I don't think any of his traits got him into trouble either. So I think he just gets the 1 fate and 1 persona for now. Unless there's anything else that we could think of in terms of humor, right skill, right time, embodiment, mold breaker for Cantarius this time. He didn't say a lot.
Nothing jumps to
Cantarius light
mind.
episode. All right, cool. All right, Dellon. That was a great sequence with Sergio today. I'm really happy with the way that turned out.
Yeah, that was cool. I was hoping I'd get a deeds out of it, but I don't know that I did. I didn't really.
Yeah.
I mean, like becoming a
if-
bishop is kind of a weird turn, but he did tell me I could still do my thing. So
Yeah, exactly. He wouldn't want to try to frame it like you were. He knew that you wouldn't do that, right? Like,
right. Yeah.
You need to be a part of the demon stuff. He's not gonna tell you not to do that anymore, because that would be such an obvious ploy too.
Right. Yeah.
Like, here's a really cushy position. Go on retirement.
Yeah. Yeah. So unfortunately, I probably didn't.
Dellon's certainly on the roads to a D's point in that same vein,
Yeah.
though, right? Like,
Right.
if he decides, like, there's a loophole in the law that makes me the vicar of Christ because I'm a bishop now, like, that could be a thing.
Yeah, there will be a point at which
Have
either
Achia make an astrology roll to make you the bishop. That could be a whole thing. Or the Pope.
I don't
That'd be
know, I'd
awesome.
want that, but I mean, I suppose that's why you'd get a D's point for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I definitely like that as the direction we're going, and a step along the path, because it makes Dellon becoming leader of the church way more realistic now,
mhm.
right? Before it was
Yeah.
going to be a violent coup, but now Dellon has like legitimate claim.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting. So belief wise, I didn't do any of the. Once again, I didn't do any of the.
Yeah, next time we
Alphonse
will
cult
get to that
things.
for sure. Yeah. And honestly,
But,
now that we've gotten out of the sequence that everyone needed to be there for, we could also do that as like a separate thing, just you and me,
True. Yeah.
as well. if we can't, if there's some scheduling stuff that happens in the future. So
Right, yeah. Sounds good. But I didn't let him interfere with the demon thing.
yep, Persona.
Sweet.
I'll give you a fate for hold the enemies of God at bay too, right? Because that was what you're trying to do as well during that whole thing.
Thank you.
Attempting to get a Vario in, that's all related.
Yeah. I don't really know if I got into trouble. Really, everything went pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I didn't get the person that I wanted on my to like take my place as the Holy Knight. I don't really know if that was because of anything though.
Yeah.
So
I don't think it was. Because like if you had anything related to that scene, it would have been opposite of it, right? You played against them as opposed to towards them.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that might
I
be
think
it.
that's it there. In terms of other Artha stuff, there was something. I know there was something that someone said today. Oh yeah, it was Theo with the putting Cantarius' hand down, but I think that was out of character ultimately. I don't think it actually happened in narrative.
Well, I wanted to do it, but then he, I guess,
Yeah, he acknowledged it at least, right? So it wouldn't have made sense. Yeah, still funny, but didn't end up actually being a character moment. In terms of anything else for you, Dellon, I'll give you Moldbreaker, I think. Right, for actually agreeing to do this in the first place, the bishop thing.
Right.
Yeah,
Very
it's
cool.
against several of Dellon's things.
Yeah. Is that fate?
It's a persona.
Oh, cool. Thanks. Ooh. Cool.
All right, last but not least, we got Theo. Did you make a willed, steel, or faith test today? No. Oh yeah. All right. You didn't test your faith to figure out. I'll give you a fate for the new patron office offer me power, but he might be a demon to deceive me. That's what you're kind of going towards right now, right? Is like trying to figure that out, but you just didn't make a faith test towards it.
Yeah.
So fate there, and then fate for the Achia belief as well. Like you're still working on it. Cantarius was the one who actually did the rolls, but you still like were there and did things. So fate. Take a fate for never give up a chance at power. And or never heed danger, right, for joining the cult. That's certainly relevant. Take a fate for apostate as well. Right?
Oh, yeah.
The fact that you were, it's not so much you got in trouble, but like the fact that you were an apostate is the thing that made this possible.
That's true. I probably could have used that.
Yeah, I mean, you have a reputation, right? A traitor to the gods. So that's probably what made this whole thing possible, is like people know you for that. So, at least in some capacity. Cool. I think that's it. Was there any extra Artha stuff? Theo God, was he funny besides that out of character sequence? I don't know if he.
I mean, it was funny for us that he was like pretending to be.
Yeah, I'll give you a fate. I think like Achia facepalmed and stuff. Like I think that sequence is definitely a Theo is funny moment. So you can take another fate there. Take right skill, right time for conspicuous. Right, that's Theo's jam.
Mm-hmm.
And being a gladiator makes him good at that stuff.
Mhm.
And then embodiment, I think as well, because that was a good scene between you and Faustus. So. Yeah, cool.
Ooh.
I think that's our session today. Hopefully, I think I'll try to do an individual. Honestly, at this point, I think any of you could have individual sessions. You're all kind of separate, doing your own things at this point, which is honestly a good place to be. I think, given our scheduling issues, every once in a while, like to be able to pick and choose where we do some scenes here, and then we can converge again when something major happens. So cool. Yeah, we can figure out what's next for our characters next time. But for now, we'll go ahead and end our session at Crow Inquisitors today. Thanks for playing, guys, and thank you for watching. We're out.
Thank you.
Adios.